Good morning, Twitch fans. Good morning, YouTube. It's Captain Nabs here with you once again, back in the saddle, ready to climb into our good old Airbus A321 aircraft on another leg of a pilot's life here on Twitch. So, welcome back, guys. I'm glad to be back, and I do apologize a little bit for just having been less available now to do streaming now, but the back in the saddle title to this stream is a little bit of a double entendre. Not only are we climbing back into the saddle here, but the last week I also climbed back into the saddle of employment. Unfortunately, my COVID-sponsored vacation came to an end, and back to work. And that's a good thing, but it just, of course, means that then I have a lot less time to give up to certain other passions that I do enjoy in life, and flight simulation being one of the big ones. So, hence, it's been about 2 weeks since my last stream, and it's probably, I will try to get a stream in a week, but I don't think it's probably going to happen for much of the summer. We'll see what happens. The nice thing is that after this leg, we're going to have a really short leg, so it'll be easier to squeeze in somewhere on a random day. But in the meantime, things are going to be a little bit less frequent, but it doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying the stuff and I'm not still thinking about it. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. I hope everyone's doing well out there. I hope everybody's healthy. As you can see, we are still working for Air Transat here in a pilot's life. We're going to climb back into our Air Transat A321 and do the next leg of our pilot's life tour. Today's leg is from San Juan, where we are right now, parked at Puerto Rico, San Juan. We're going to go, apparently it's not going to load now, but we're going to go all the way back to Toronto. Let me just load the current flight. San Juan, Tango Juliet Sierra Juliet, back to CYYZ Toronto International before we do a quick leg from Toronto over to Montreal, which probably will not happen today, but I'll be able to squeeze that in as a really quick stream. I might even do it as like an evening stream when we're guaranteed some good live ATC. Pardon me, some good live ATC along the full length of our routing. So that is our plan for today, is to do that, and I just thought I'd show you one quick thing, because once we start this flight, I can't show you things that are happening in a pilot's life here. But I loaded this up yesterday, and I had a new alert, and I read it, and I thought this one was a little bit interesting here. This most recent alert here, info on MSFS compatibility. So for those of you that are wondering, thinking about, hey, am I going to be able to use a pilot's life with the next generation of flight simulator? Basically, the gist of it is that it depends on FS2Crew. A pilot's life, like so many other utilities and ACAR systems and everything else, uses FS2Crew to access the simulator. So as long as FS2Crew works with FS2020, or certainly is developed to work with FS2020, then a pilot's life should work pretty seamlessly, because it interacts with the sim through FS2Crew. So as long as FS2Crew's SDK, as long as their interface doesn't change, the change will be almost transparent to a pilot's life. So the good news is that they are hoping for it. That basically is what they're saying, is that they're hoping that it will work. They're depending on FS2Crew to make the necessary changes. So I also did a little bit of digging after that, and I did find that FS2Crew is planning. Pete Dowson is planning to support FS2020 with FS2Crew. The problem he indicated, which is the common theme that most developers seem to be indicating, is that Microsoft and Asobo have been very slow to bring out information about the SimConnect DLL and software development SDKs. When the SDK is available out there to developers, the developers who have had access to it comment that it's very poorly documented at this time. So I don't think that it's not happening. It's just a question. It's more a question, I think, of when than if. But anyways, we'll get more into FS2020 once we get up into cruise. But I just thought I would show you that. So for those of you that are thinking about a pilot's life and then thinking, oh, I'm going to be changing platforms soon, I would say there is a very good chance that a pilot's life is going to work on the new platform. In fact, I would say, if I was to give it odds, I would say you're probably talking 80 to 90% chance that it's going to work. It sounds like the new platform is very different, but from what I have read, it sounds like Pete Dowson thinks that it's still going to use a sim disconnect style DLL like the previous version has, and that he will then be able to expand FS2Crew to support FS2020. So as long as that does happen, then you could expect to utilize a pilot's life in FS2020. So long story short, they are certainly hoping for compatibility. It all depends on FS2Crew. Anyways, I just thought I would share that because I thought that was interesting, and I won't be able to share that once we get in cruise because everything in this interface unfortunately gets locked out once you're in cruise. So back to the current flight page. Hopefully it's going to eventually. There it is. There is San Juan up to Toronto. So that's our plan for today. Again, about a 4-hour flight. So without further ado, let's hop in the flight deck. Let's get this party started. Alright, and I have not even yet activated my FS2Crew. Here it comes. Slide that up to a more normal level there where you guys can still kind of see it, but I'm not being held to it too badly here. Alright, and so before anything else, I'm just going to quickly... There we go. I don't think I even connected the bridge, did I? So let's connect the bridge. I saw the bridge move for a split second, and no jetway can operate at this position. I had this problem, actually, I remember before. It's either too far forward, or GSX just didn't connect to it properly. Here it comes. I think. Yes, here it comes. And then once, of course, we get the jetway connected, then the pilots can walk in. There we go. And then the pilots can hop into the flight deck, and they can power this puppy up here. And I believe that this guy will do it automatically actually here. So let's just check the config and make sure we're happy with everything. We're going to have 30 minutes external power. Yeah, that's fine. And gate departure doors. Yeah, yep. Okay, good.
Hi there, Captain. How are you today?
I am good. I am good. I swear something's going on with this microphone because FS2Crew's voice recognition seems to have gotten a lot worse in the last little while, and I don't know why. I swear I haven't done anything to it that I'm aware of, but it seems to have gotten a lot worse. Anyways, he's going to power on the airplane for us. While he's doing that, let's go ahead and call the operations department, and hey, buddy, let's get some fuel. Yeah. So we get some fuel. We don't need catering because usually at an outstation like this in San Juan, nobody would get catering. They just bring their catering with them from their origin point. Before that fuel truck arrives, we should indicate how much fuel we're going to need here. So let me go to my trusty, as always, SimBrief flight plan. Stand by 1 second. I'm just bringing something up here on my other screen, so I'm ready. Just basically bringing up my Twitch stream, so if you guys want to chat about anything, I'm here. Feel free to talk about it. Hold off on the FS2020 stuff because I'm going to have just a long chat about that in cruise because it's exciting, and yeah, things are really happening and it's really becoming reality. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get this flight going first, and then once we get up in cruise, we'll have tons of time to chat. We got 4 hours of airtime today, so I'm just looking at the other screen here really quickly, pulling up a fuel load for today. We're looking at about 18.3. I'll round that up to 18.5 tons of fuel. And while we're here, we're also going to specify the passenger load. We are looking at 213 people. This is a non-COVID simulation today. And yeah, we'll put 2.1 in for the cargo. Go now. GSX will auto-load everything. The fuel truck, I think I can hear the fuel truck pulling up. Yep, and there he is right there in the corner, guys. So, yeah, he'll start auto-loading without me doing anything else, which is great. Okay, so it looks like our FO has gotten the airplane basically powered up here. We got the batteries on, we got external power on, so let's go ahead and start turning on some things we need. We need the ADIRSs. Obviously not going to get anywhere if those don't work, basically. Cruise oxygen supply, and the quick and easy thing to do in any Airbus is make sure all the white lights are off. A white light indicates something that is not in its normal position, not necessarily a problem, but just not in its normal position. We can also do fire tests. That is weird. Why is it only testing for a split second? It should beep continuously. It's new. I've never noticed that before. I haven't done the fire test on this airplane in a while. Ha, interesting. Alright, so the electrics are going on, but the seatbelts are staying off because we haven't fueled yet, and that's usually a sign to the cabin crew that you're doing fueling is that the seatbelts are off. Once the seatbelt sign goes on, it means the refueling is complete. Alright, and then we're going to hop into the FMS here really quickly. it is. And as always, now I'm going to also bring up my flight plan here. Again, I love taking advantage of this EFB. It really is one of the better EFBs out there. So I always love to take advantage of it. They did a very nice job here, Aerosoft. And I think they a lot of the functionality comes from a third party, but it is well done. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and throw up my FMS, but I have to unlock my FMS first. I want you guys seeing my secret code. There we go. And Chris H0184, howdy. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching. Let's see here. I hate distracting myself because it's amazing how quickly you become distracted in this business. Okay, we are going to do from TJSJ, but thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate everybody watching when I do log on. It gives me someone to talk to, something to talk about, and I'm always willing to talk about things. During the pre-flight phase here, I try not to talk too much because I like to get the flight underway, and we frankly have a lot of time in cruise today to kill. Alright, cost index is estimated at 5 today, so we're going to go with that for now. Cruise altitude of 320 initially, and eventually climbing to 340. When you have short legs, it's a whole different story. I've been flying a lot of short legs lately, and then you don't have much time to... That's not what I meant to hit. I meant to hit init request, or IRS init. And we'll just align it on ref. I've been doing a lot of short legs, and it's amazing how fast a short leg is. And when I'm talking short legs, I'm talking 36 minutes of airtime sometimes on some of these legs. Very short. It makes things happen very quickly, so it's kind of nice to have a 4-hour time. We have lots of time to talk in cruise. So our goal is to get this plane at least off the gate in 25 minutes. I have no doubt we'll get that done. It usually doesn't take me as long as all that to get this stuff done. And guys, let me know if the levels are okay, if the background noise is too loud. I feel like it might be a little bit too loud. I was tweaking it before because it sounded like it was too quiet, and I'm constantly messing with those levels. Okay, so let's see here. Departure today, that's what I was doing. Okay, so just a quick check in San Juan here. We've got 110 at 6, and the other thing we should do really quickly is just check the NOTAMs for closed runways, because last time I was here, I set up an entire runway for arrival, and then that runway was closed, so I had to switch to the other runway. So before I even do anything else, 10:28 is closed. What is today? The 23rd, 8:47 all day. Alright, well that answers the question about which runway we're going to depart then. If it was between 8 and 10, 10:28 is closed, so 8 it is.
Okay, I'm out for the walk around.
Thank you. Perfect. So what departure are we using here? Do we have a SID here? We can just scroll through. Here's our routing here, and you guys can see it at the bottom of the screen, I hope there. I don't seem to have a departure. Just go straight to PALDI. Alright. Before I do anything else, let's have a quick look at the charts and just see. There it is. Sometimes this keyboard is a little bit temperamental to get up, but other than that, it generally works very well. I'm just going to have a look at the SIDs and see if any of them have this PALDI intersection. Aha! The Aconi departure has the PALDI intersection, so why would we not do that? Oh, that's new. You guys see that down there? All of a sudden, my georeference charts are working here. That is new. Haha. It looks like they have managed to somehow make geolocation work on this tablet. Alright, so it seems like it's the Aconi 3 departure. So we'll do Aconi 3. And I'll say Sapo transition for now, but then I have to remove Sapo as well. Aconi, PALDI, Sapo. We're going to clear out Sapo. There we go. And there's PALDI. Okay, good. So now we got our SID programmed in. Now back to our routing. Ah, but look, georeference charts, guys. That's new. That was not there before. Oh, isn't that nice? Look at that. Now it knows exactly where on the airport we are. It takes a second for it to realign when I just zoom into the chart or scroll the chart, but there you go. Knows exactly where we are. Oh, that's new. That's nifty. I like that. I like that a lot. I had no idea. I didn't even see that was... Thanks, Migrations are for noting the levels are good. I'm sorry it takes so long for me to react. I'm also not... I have the chat window up, and I'm just not looking at it because obviously I'm trying to focus on getting the flight underway here. So if I don't respond to you, first there's of course the Twitter lag, the Twitch lag, you know, and that's 20 seconds or 30 seconds, but then there's just the I'm not looking at it lag, which is probably where it's Lin home. Oops. H-O-M. Which is probably worse, and that's where the majority of that lag is coming in, guys. So I'm not trying to ignore anyone, and I apologize in advance when I don't respond right away. I tend to be better in cruise. Right now I really am just trying to get set up here for this departure here. So Xana. And then we switch to AR8. And that goes as far as, I don't know if you guys really see that well on the stream, but I can read it at least. So ECG, and that's it for airways. Then direct to Armel, which I believe is Washington. That's one thing I hate about the Airbus. Oh, Jesus. 77 west by 39 north would be the Armel we're looking for. Phillipsburg and Woolsey. PSB. And then direct Woolsey. And then the Ling to arrival. I'll do a quick weather zap over here in Toronto and see what it says. It's right now it's estimating 05. I guess it could be, or 06 left, or 06 left most likely. But it's just been such a stable atmosphere for so long in Toronto. It has been non-stop. And let's do via. Nope, not that. Son of a bugger. Ling 2. Wazzy, and I'm trying to do the via. Libby. Insert. Alright. Is that once you insert something, it's all the way back at the top of your flight plan again, and sometimes you just scroll a long way just to make sure that, and now the, because I clicked the wrong button, it got all messed up. Arg. Okay, so I'm going to do ILS 05, I'm going to do a different arrival just to completely obliterate what I had in there and then fix it. Okay, so, yeah, we're going to go ILS 06 left, we're going to go Ling to arrival, Wazzy transition. Hopefully that fixes it, because if that Wazzy's not in there now, then I gotta change it again. Ah, lordy lord. I don't know if this is the way that Airbus has programmed it, or if this is just the way Aerosoft has implemented it, but I really hate this FMS sometimes. Okay, ILS 6 right.
I'm back from the walk around. Everything looks good.
Thank you. There. Ling 2, Wozy. But I did that wrong because it's 6 right now. I gotta do it again. Okay, ILS 06 left. Hopefully I didn't mess up again. I'm getting very tired of this. There it is. Okay. Wazzy, Iston, Ling. It's all there. Okay. Pain in the butt sometimes trying to get these Airbus FMSs to work properly. I was flying with a guy yesterday who just loved the Airbus, loved the automation in it, and it just... maybe it's just the Aerosoft implementation. It cuts off a few corners. But I find it very frustrating to use. And I can understand that. You know, I don't fault Aerosoft for maybe cutting corners, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I just mean that in
Hey, Captain. The agents want to start sending people out. Can we start boarding?
Go for it. Yes.
Okay, I'll let them know.
Okay, so ZFW is 70.326. You know, the FMS in any modern airplane is a huge computer in and of itself. So then to simulate this computer within your computer, there's going to be shortcuts and compromises made, because it's just simply there's so much in there, so much processor power being simulated. Like you don't necessarily need to simulate every single function within the computer. So things that perhaps are not happening as often. and maybe you know, when things being changed, you know, like changing arrivals. But you think that would be something that would be fairly well simulated, because people are going to change their arrivals, they're going to change their departures, especially anybody who flies with like a live ATC system like VATSIM or anything like that. Things are going to change after the fact. So all right, I think we got the FMS all set up there, and that's pretty much it in this airplane. And then you just sit there and you wait for the passengers to board. I will say, like, after the FMS is done, it's a pretty straightforward setup here. Okay, so we've got that. Everybody's boarding. So we're just going to finish setting up here. Let's see here. We're at 3003 at San Juan. So I'm going to turn on the light. No, not that. There we go. Make that a little easier to see. 3003. I'll get rid of this for now. Let's just have a quick look at those charts now for our departure there. The Coney 3 departure, which sounds like the one I did before too. Let's see if there's a top altitude here. There is. It's 5,000, and the runway heading is 078. But it doesn't matter in this aircraft. Thinking like a Boeing man. 5,000, auto thrust armed. Alright, we're going to put max braking on there. We'll leave it in weather radar mode now. It's a big terrain and weather radar, but we'll leave it in weather radar mode for now. And the parking brake is on, and I think we're just about ready here. Let's go ahead and get Unicom and a default transponder code in there. Hopefully we'll get a little ATC later on today too. It's early in the morning. It's not early in the morning, but it's morning. It's early by VATSIM standards. You don't get a lot of generally morning to afternoon ATC. You get some of it here and there. But it's definitely more of an afternoon evening thing. So, anyways, boarding is now well underway here. And I think the fuel's almost done. I love that this actually tracks the fuel as it loads. It's not like PMDG where it's just there. It's actually, I love the interactivity of the Aerosoft Airbus with GSX, and as the fuel is loading, you can actually see it reflect on the fuel gauge. I love that feature. I think that's a killer feature. One of the best. What am I trying? Why can't I see what I'm looking for here? There's for. Alright, so we're getting everybody loaded. I guess we can do a little talk about our departure while everybody's boarding here, huh? Are you ready for the departure briefing? Are you ready for the takeoff briefing?
Ready?
There we go, that's the word he was looking for. Okay, let's do it this way so you guys can also follow along here. Pause this so you can see it here. So we're going to go ahead and just get this and this, and yeah, I got my FMS down in the corner, and that's okay for now. Okay, guys, so, in the event of any abnormality of the problem during taxi, we'll stop. This will be a left seat takeoff. Any malfunctions prior to the V1 of, we got 150 today. I'll call stop and go with the call stop. Close thrust levers, apply maximum brake, disconnect the auto throttle, apply maximum reverse, and stop on the runway. I'll set the park brake PA, remain seated, and call for any required memory items or QRH checklists. If the call is go or we're out above V1, I'll continue the takeoff. At 400 feet, I'll call heading mode and ask you to identify the failure. The failure procedure off runway 08 is just going to be straight ahead runway heading up to our MSA of 5100. In reality, we probably won't need that because if we go straight ahead off 08, we're going out over the ocean.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you? I'm doing good.
Let's see here. The taxi out today. There we are there. Gate Charlie 3. Right in the middle of the terminal here. For 08, pretty straightforward taxi. We're going to push back. It's going to be northbound taxi on November and then westbound on Sierra to get to the threshold of 08. The Coney 3 departure off of runway 08. This is on plate 10-3 and effective on the 5th of December 2019. GPS is required, radar is required, RNF1, and for jets only. Hey, that's us. Love it. For runway 08 specifically, it's just make sure it's in here since we're going to fly it off the FMS here. In managed mode, it's climb heading 078 to 520, then a climbing left turn heading 350 is assigned. And you can see here heading 055 and 065. Yeah, for bearing 078. Just taking into account the winds for heading 350. Our as assigned by ATC for vectors to Oconee, then on track 327 to Paldi. So Oconee, 327 to Paldi, and top altitude is 5,000. 5,000, I believe, is set. Yeah, 5,000 feet is set. Terrain mostly to the south of the airport, over the island, up to 5,100 foot for our MSA. Weather is looks pretty nice here. Cav okay, and operational. Nothing's broken on the airplane. Just have a quick look at any other NOTAMs. We know about the closed runway. That's probably the most relevant one. Let's just see if there's anything else affecting our SID here today. November 3 between November 4 and April 4. Everything wet. Airline markings for November 1, November 2, November 3. Seems like San Juan is also getting lots of construction done these days. What with the traffic levels being as low as they are, one thing anyone who's a pilot out there has noticed is that the summer construction season this year in North America is going absolutely wild. I don't see anything affecting the Oconee departure, so I think we're good. Just because there's so few airplanes operating that they can close large parts of airports, major taxiways, whole runway complexes, and be getting by because of the lower traffic levels. So a lot of catch up on construction projects at all these airports that have never had a chance to do them. Toronto, for example, is pretty much a one-runway airport at this point in time, due to taxiway closures and everything else, and some runway closures and runway construction. There's a whole bunch of runways that are closed, but it's okay because there's so little traffic that it's not affecting, it's not causing any kind of delays or anything. Alright, oh, here comes our baggage train. Where did these guys drive from? They drive from Canada back down here or something? Took them long enough to get here. Alright, anyways, they're here now. We're going to get loaded. We should get underway here in a couple minutes and on our way 4-hour flight to Toronto. And then, yeah, like I said, after that, we'll have to ferry this airplane from Toronto back to Montreal. It's not a ferry, but it's a scheduled flight, but get it back to our home base for now. So that's going to probably take a little while. Let's just see these guys pull up here. I don't know where that baggage train went. Where are they going? They're going like way past us here. Oh, here he comes. Okay, he's swinging around to do it that way. I got it. Yeah, so it'll be kind of nice to do that short leg because it won't take a very long commitment on my part, and I can probably plan on doing it in an evening when we'll have some great ATC from one end to the other. So it'll be good to have that go, I think. All right, GSX, load those bags, load those containers, and then we are ready to get underway. I think the people just finished boarding. The fueling was done a long time ago. We got less than 10 minutes to departure, so normally about this time you get a bang, bang, bang on the side of the airplane as the ramp guys try to signal you to start the APU.
May I take your food, please?
Starting the APU, and I just need to fix my track IR because it's really being a pain. Give me 1 second here. Nope, not that one. That one. My track IR, it's just being a pain. Being a little bit too jumpy here. There we go. And I have a great setting for it for P3D, but it often doesn't work. Okay, so here comes the APU, 30%. It's getting there. Guys are out there. You can see the loading bags out there.
Hi, Captain. The passenger boarding is complete, and I've got the load sheet here for you when you're ready.
Thank you.
Have a safe flight.
If I go over here, now I'm sitting in the FOC. Now he can tell me, hey, yeah, no, I still see the baggage guys out there. They're still loading some bags. I see them. Yeah, they're still loading bags. Okay. They must be almost done. Alright, in the meantime, I think the APU is fully online there now. Yeah, putting out the generators online. There we go. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect external power.
Roger, disconnecting the GPU.
A lot of the time I find this isn't done by audio, it's just done by hand signals. The guys, like I said, they bang on the airplane, you look up, you see it's online, you make sure the GPU is turned off, and you look out the window and you just give them the hand signal to remove the GPU. It's a bit like the timeout signal. My experience is generally they don't establish voice communication until they're pretty much sitting in the tug ready for pushback.
Captain, the GPU is now disconnected.
Alright, looks like we got, thank you. Looks like we got baggage loading is done in the front, finishing in the rear, prepare for pushback and departure. I don't know why the active guy came up. Look at that, he closed the, oh shoot. FS2Crew closed the doors, but GSX was not ready. We'll open that back up again. Oops. That's what happens when you have like about 50 add-ons running. They don't always all play nice next to each other. Alright, while they're loading the last of these bags here, we're just going to really quickly go in here. I didn't show you this last time, and I wanted to show you this, was the flight planning page here for SimToolKitPro. It's really gotten even better than it was before. You have a whole bunch of ways. You can generate a flight from scratch using SimBrief. You can search the schedule to find a route, and then VFR planners is some stuff that's coming later in this version. You can type in a route and just have it create, or you can literally drop your flight plan file here, load different files here, load PFPX, or just hit the latest SimBrief OFP, give it a couple seconds here, 5-10 seconds, the internet works its magic, and boom, there is your flight plan route. And because I loaded this using a pilot's life, it even automatically knows which airplane I'm using. Flying on the VATSIM network, everything is in there as it should be, and I just have to hit fly now, and already we're being tracked here. Flight is being tracked for my logbook purposes. So I really like that. They've gotten better and better in SimToolKitPro here in terms of integration, in terms of flexibility too. Lots of people use lots of different ways of putting flight plans into the sim, and they support, it seems like, all of them. There's one thing they seem to do is they seem to support pretty much, and I have to close the door again. I swear I just opened that door again. Okay, I'm just going to ignore them and hop back in the flight deck. Alright, what was I saying? Yeah, so we'll just wait for them to finish boarding, loading, and I think we're just about done here. So much quieter in the flight deck than it is outside. Pretty much need hearing protection just to go outside. But that is really true. Airports are noisy environments, they really are. And you see guys walking around all the time without hearing protection, and I just wonder, like, how, you know, what's your hearing going to be like in 10 or 20 years when you go to retire and, you know, you have to wear a hearing aid at age 40 because you've been walking around on the ramp without hearing it on. And it's only 2 or 3 or 5 minutes at a time, but it's incredibly loud out there, especially the APU is running. You walk underneath a running APU, that's incredibly loud.
Ground and cockpit.
Go ahead.
Alright, Captain, we're removing the jetway now.
Thank you. Alright, ready to go a couple minutes ahead of schedule. Love it.
Alright guys, everyone's seated. We're all buttoned up and ready to go in the back.
Thank you.
If you need anything, just let me know.
Before start checklist to the line.
Before start checklist, down to the line. Cockpit prep.
Complete.
Completed. Gears, pins, and covers.
Removed.
Signs.
Set.
ADIRS.
We're ready for pushback.
Nav.
Fuel quantity.
18 tons.
Takeoff data.
Set.
Aeroref.
Locking gear.
3003 set.
3003. Cross-checked. Set. Okay, before start checklist, completed to the line.
before start procedures.
Okay.
There's only one way we can really get out of this alley, so I have to kind of manually do this here. We'll do it about there.
Departure check completed. Bypass bin inserted.
Before start checklist below the line.
Release parking brakes.
Before start checklist below the line. Windows and doors.
Closed.
Closed. Beacon.
On.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Parking brake.
Commencing
Release.
push.
Before
All
start
engines clear.
checklist complete.
Started well.
Thank you. Oh, remove the bridge. There it goes. Starting engine 1. And this time I did remember to turn on the AV bleed first. As I am so often forgetting to do. Alright, we got N2 rotation. I'm just gonna pause this guy here. I don't know what that clicking sound is. Alright, I got a normal start on 1 there. I wasn't even watching it because now it was an annoying clicking sound for some reason. I have no idea what it is. Alright, starting engine 2. It'll go away in a second.
Set parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Alright, we got N2 rotation. We got some oil pressure. Relay's driving me nuts already. I wonder, just by way of experiment. Oh, something clicking in P3D, okay.
Heading 2, 3, 7, set.
That's what he was doing. He was doing something. Ah, stupid FO. Okay. We got 2 good starts. You are clear to disconnect and go to hand signals.
Alright, you'll have a safe flight.
Alright. We're just waiting for the thumbs up from our ground guys. Make sure we're good to go. And I should also make sure that a pilot's light did trigger automatically here. It did. We're in the end flight window now, which means that we did trigger and it is tracking. Good.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass bin removed.
Alright. There goes a tug and a tow bar. And usually you want to see 3 ramp guys as well. At least in our company, you always want to see three guys, a tug and a tow bar. That's your sign that you're disconnected. Those are the things you're looking for. If you don't see those 3 things, then you may not have everybody out of your way. Somewhere this guy's going to walk away in a second. There he goes. Just about got run over by the tug.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Alright. Adios. After start procedures.
Check. Flaps 1 plus F.
After start checklist.
Okay, after start checklist. Anti-ice.
Off.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Pitch trim.
One up. One upset.
Rudder trim.
0.
After start checklist complete.
Flight control check.
Ready? Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Rudder.
Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Flight control check complete.
Ready?
Yeah, it is. Clear on the left.
Clear on the right.
Taxi light on. This guy doesn't understand that command anyways. And away we go. Try not to use too much power here. Sort of face right into the terminal, but let's just get rolling. San Juan traffic, good morning. Transat 2599 is at taxiing from gate Charlie 3 for departure runway 08, Coney departure. I forget what number it is, so we're just going to call it the Coney departure. Alright, and for those of you guys that don't know or don't recognize, this is LatinVFR's San Juan. It is a nice property. I will be a bit sad to give up a lot of these airports. I don't know how many they're going to work in FS2020. From the sounds of it, a lot of them are not going to work. The design of the whole sim is quite a bit advanced, and there's not going to be backwards compatibility, and that is a double-edged sword. I'm happy because that means that you're not holding on to legacy problems, but at the same time, I'm going to miss a lot of these good airports that I have now. And I wonder how quickly I'm going to move on to flying exclusively on the new platform when I know I have all these great airplanes and great airports stuck in this other simulator. Alright, so we're going to taxi left here on Sierra, right to the threshold of 08. But sitting right here, like, it looks pretty. Like, you feel like you're in kind of a built-up area. You got the trees surrounding the airport, but then you've got these larger buildings kind of off on the horizon. It really
flight deck
does a great job when you're on the ground here capturing the feel, I think.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. Captain, the captain is secure.
Thank you. Before takeoff, checklist to the line. Oh, I'm sorry, I need a... Before takeoff, checklist down to the line.
Before takeoff checklist down to the line. Flight controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flight instruments.
Checked.
Checked. Briefing.
Confirmed.
Flap setting.
Config 1 plus F.
Config 1 plus F. V1, VR, V2 flex temp.
Lord. V1 150, VR 151, V2 155. Flex temp is 33 degrees.
V1 is 150. V rotate is 151. V2 is 155. And for the flex temp, we have 3 degrees. ATC.
Set.
ECAM memo.
Takeoff, no blue.
Before takeoff checklist complete to the line.
Now, I think I installed an Airbus update a little while ago because it seems like FS2Crew is having just a few little issues here with this. It's not hitting buttons and switches the way it should, and I'm not sure why, so I may have to try a reset on it. It worked fine the last flight, but he seems to not be hitting a lot of the buttons and switches he should be hitting in his flows. I noticed that he didn't turn on the beacon. What else? Didn't turn on the beacon. He didn't push the takeoff config button. Like, he's doing some stuff and other stuff, so I wonder if, like, there's little minor modifications in the SDK somewhere along the way that are breaking compatibility with FS2Crew. Alright, just one second. I'm going to have a really quick look at my VATSPY window to make sure that nobody's inbound, so we don't have any tower or anything to confirm it. No, it looks like the only people at San Juan right now are us, so good to go, I think, when we get there. Embassy Suites by the looks of it over there, I think. I can recognize the logo. I imagine that's a hotel that probably a lot of flight crew are staying in. Before takeoff checklist below the line.
Before takeoff
Cabin crew
checklist
seats
below
for
the
departure.
line. Cabin crew.
Advised.
TCAS.
Clear on the left.
Clear on the approach.
TARA.
Engine mode selector.
Norm.
PAX.
On.
Okay, before takeoff checklist is complete.
Checked. San Juan traffic at Transat 2599 is taking position runway 08 for departure. I guess it's runway 8 here. Takeoff.
Check. Thrust set.
Checked.
$100 knots.
Checked.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate.
You're up.
Gear up. Gear up.
Disregard. I think I popped into the D10 for a second there. A little bit of hand flying for a moment here as we leave San Juan behind us. She's telling me to climb at 250 knots and pitch up somehow. I don't know why he's doing that, so I'm going to just stop following the flight director. Wow. Look at the tiny margin between the slot retraction speed and the speed limit on the flaps. Cancel last command.
Check.
Flaps up.
Flap 0.
Autopilot 1 on.
Autopilot 1 on.
Alright, Alright, now we're underway. We can go ahead and go direct to our first fix here because there's no other traffic.
Checked.
And there's the turn to a Coney. After takeoff, checklist to the line.
After takeoff checklist, down the line. Landing gear.
Up.
Flaps.
Retracted.
Packs.
On.
After takeoff checklist completed, to the line.
Checked. There we go. Now we're underway. There's San Juan behind us. Goodbye. Adios, Puerto Rico, I suppose is the better way to say it. Adios.
1,000 to go.
Set flight level 320. Set flight level 320. For manage mode. I can't remember if 320 was our cruise, so we'll just check here in the flight plan. Yes, 320.
Level 320.
Check. A little bit of stuff out there, nothing crazy, but weather radar should be on. Oh no, for some reason switched to terrain. There we are. Weather radar is now on. See a few buildups here. I don't think it's gonna be crazy bumpy, but it'll be a little bit bumpy as we go through them. Maybe the FO is drunk and needs to be removed from duty. Migrations are, that's good. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the FO today. He is definitely behind on his stuff, or maybe he's just a standard FO now. Prior to like February, March of this year, FOs were sliding into the right seat of jets with a ridiculously low amount of time. And I've been flying with a lot of training captains lately, and they all made the same comment that it's a bit of a relief for them now that the hiring boom has suddenly completely terminated, and all they're doing is recurrent training for people who are already experienced on the airplanes. And it's such a relative pleasure to have people who are experienced undergoing training again, rather than training guys who have no experience in the airline business, no jet experience, and trying to get them up to speed in some of these airplanes. And some people do it fine, and some people are inherently have a good mindset for being a pilot and can get into a new airplane pretty quickly and get up to speed pretty quickly, but some people need a lot of work, and some people just don't make it with such a limited experience to draw on. Myself personally, I had 6,000 plus hours, I think, before I first sat right seat in it, or before I first sat in a jet. Actually, I went direct entry left seat into a jet, but I had 6,000 hours before I got into a jet. And you're talking guys with like not even 600 hours sometimes getting into the right seat of jets these days. So these are the guys that sometimes you have to keep an eye on. And again, a lot of them are great, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody personally, but some people, it just, a couple hundred hours does not give you enough awareness of what's going on to really be on the ball enough in this business. Alright, there's 10,000, so let's go ahead and get it. Lights are all off. This time he did everything he was supposed to. Just about above, I think. We'll wait just a little bit on the seatbelts there. And just a quick pressurization check. Make sure the airplane is pressurizing. And it is not. We're going to have another glitch, are we? Cabin altitude is stuck at minus 150 and it's not climbing yet. Everything's on. Packs are on. They're putting out everything that they need to put out, but my Aerosoft bus is not having a good day. We're going to get a cabin altitude warning for sure at some point here. Differential's rising, but the cabin is not climbing at all. By the time you reach 10,000 feet, the cabin should be climbing above sea level. So we're going to get a cabin overpressure warning at some point here, but this is an Aerosoft glitch, and nobody seems to be able to track it down because it's not consistent. Even I couldn't track it down because I haven't been able to get it consistently. It seems to happen about every 4th or 5th flight. I don't know what causes it. And certainly I've studied the Aerosoft forums, and they don't know what causes it either, so. What can you do? The FO has COVID, confirm he's performed his self-assessment before reporting for duty. Air transit requirements first officer. Do you identify the following items on an aircraft? Wings, wheels, tail. Congratulations, you're the first officer. I love it. The sad thing is, like, that is not a whole huge exaggeration. You know, I mean, airlines have always tried to have, like, a certain set level, but there's also a certain amount of pressure from the training departments to pass a certain percentage of pilots at least. You know, and I get it a little bit from the company's perspective. You know, even just to bring a person in for the first few weeks of ground school costs the company money. So if they've decided that they want to hire this person and put them on their payroll, they would like them to finish the training. And if they need a little bit of remedial training to get there, so be it. And I'm not against that. Some people, especially with lower levels of experience, will need more training than people who have a higher level of experience to perhaps get up to the same competency level. But you know, it's a very fine line you walk between trying to help these guys that are struggling and push them through without, you know, necessarily accepting somebody who is not able to handle the situation. And this is the problem that the industry found itself in up until about 4 months ago, was trying to get enough people into the seats who had a reasonable level of competence. But certainly a lot of smaller companies, and then, you know, after a couple of years shuffling these guys into the left seat, some of these companies, like 1, maybe 2 years, you'd be shuffling into the left seat a guy who barely passed his ride the first time in the right seat. You know, the volumes of experience that have been lost in the last 10 years or so, as a lot of guys have retired, it's not easily replaceable. It takes a long time to get that experience, to get that sixth sense for aviation. A lot of people do not have it naturally. They don't come by it naturally, and I don't think I had it naturally either. It took me a long time to build up that sixth sense of aviation, that nagging suspicion of what could go wrong if I don't do something correctly, and you know, projecting that forward and using that in a couple ways. One, it focuses you when you're doing your job to make sure that you follow the SOPs correctly, that you do everything you're supposed to do, because you're taking this machine, you know, several miles high into the sky and hoping that everything functions, because if things stop functioning, there's a good chance that the outcome could be catastrophic. So it you know, it focuses you in that way to just make sure you know your airplane, the equipment, the systems, the procedures cold, so that you can take it up in the air safely, bring it back down safely. But then there's also just that sneaking suspicion of danger too, and that's something that's probably even more subtle and even harder to train, is just that sneaking suspicion that something's not quite right. And you get that little nagging voice in the back of your head that says that something's not quite right, but you can't quite put your finger on it sometimes. But it makes you, again, pay attention, look at things, maybe change your course of action. There's transition. After takeoff checklist below the line.
After takeoff checklist below the line. Faro ref.
Standard set.
Standard set. After takeoff checklist is complete.
That sneaking suspicion that something's not quite right, or something just doesn't quite feel right. And when you get that, you learn quickly to act on it, to do something with it. You get it sometimes when you check the weather. You read a weather forecast, and you kind of look at things, and you just put them together. You're like, I don't know that I trust this 100%. You know, there's no forecast of fog, but something just tells me there might be fog, or maybe the forecast is painting a rosy picture, but it's worse than the forecast at the destination or the alternate. And you're like, I don't know if I trust this 100%, and you try to come up with alternate plans. That sixth sense, that just, you know, that little edge for danger, a little suspicion of danger out there, that's a really hard sense to develop. A lot of pilots, I think there's a lot of pilots out there that never really get that have good luck a lot of the time, and they just sort of go into work hunky-dory. And the few times in the last, like, 5 years or so where I've really been bitten are usually the times where I don't listen to that voice, where I disregard that voice, that sneaking suspicion that something's not right. Those are the times that I find myself getting in trouble. When I listen to it, it usually just says, let's just pack on a little bit of extra fuel for some contingencies. Maybe let's just change our alternate to something a little farther away, just to make sure we're, you know, we have a good chance of having someone, of being able to land somewhere when we need an alternate. These are the kind of things that, you know, make me a little more suspicious, but I think these are things you can't teach, though. You can't train suspicion. You just have to have, unfortunately, been screwed enough times to develop that sense that just, it's not a sense of fear, but it's just a suspicion. I think it's a healthy suspicion. There is a lot that can go wrong in the aviation industry, and you need to be sure that everything is going to work out okay. You know, at the end of the day, there's lives on the line behind you. You need to be sure that everything's going to work out, and if you're not, you need to find a reason why, find a way to make sure that it's going to work out, whether it be change the plan, you know, change something so that you're going to be able to make it to your destination, or at least certainly make it back to the ground safely. Who cares making the destination as long as you make it back to the ground safely? That's the important thing. Yeah, there it goes. Pressure differential is now 8.5 and climbing, so it's not going to trigger any warnings on this, so we're not going to run the warnings because I know it to be a sim glitch, so I'm just going to disregard that pressurization. But normal procedures would, of course, be to level off, determine the reason for the pressurization failure. If necessary, we can return. We're not going to do that today. It's a sim glitch. We've seen it before. We know it exists. It's just an Aerosoft glitch. I'm just going to disregard it. But yes, that would be the kind of thing where you would definitely have to level off, start trying to find the source of a fault, and deal with it from there. The packs are on. All the packs are on. According to the ECAM system, the bleeds are providing pressure into the packs. The packs are providing air into the cabin. The outflow valve is closed. By the laws of physics, based on everything you see here, the airplane should be pressurizing. Actually, the outflow valve should be opening. That's the problem. The outflow valve should be opening to let some of this pressure out so that the cabin climbs a little bit. And it might even turn red. It's not anything we can really do anything about unless we just simply reset the sim and restart the airplane, and we're not going to do that. So away we go. Just climbing like a dog here. 1,100 feet per minute. Still got about 9,000 feet to go. It is not going to level off for, excuse me, how long now? 300 miles it's not going to level off for? Oh my god. Okay, we might have to intervene and maybe just help us out a little bit here. Let's do 290. Alright, manual speed 290. We're just going to see if we can get this to climb up to altitude a little bit faster, because I want to chat in cruise. I like chatting. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to get into my Twitch app here on my phone to chat with you guys, and it's just seems to be hanging up. It doesn't want to necessarily chat. It's easier because it's right in front of my eyes, so I can't see the other window nearly as easily to chat with you guys. But anyways, we'll bring it up over here. There we go. Have I tried turning it off and on again? That's hilarious. Have you tried turning it off and on again? I will say that I have not, but I'm not going to try that in cruise. Again, and this is funny, that the gentleman I was flying with yesterday, he really likes the Airbus. He said he flew the Airbus for, I forget now, 5 years, 8 years. He said in that whole time, he rebooted the airplane like twice to try and fix issues with it. He said he always liked the Airbus. It was an extremely reliable airplane. Like it worked the way it was supposed to. The faults were very rare occurrence compared to certainly compared to Embraer, which faults are a daily occurrence. There's always something bloody going wrong with with it. And the first thing they do, have you tried turning the system off and on again? That's always the first thing they ask, 100%. That's the first thing they ask. Have you turned the system off and turned it on again? Well, no, that's not in the procedure. Oh, we'll do that. That's their first response to everything. Pull the circuit breaker or power the airplane down and power it up again. And if you're sitting at the gate, fine, sure, power the airplane down and up again. I'm not going to be powering the airplane down and up again here up at 26,000 feet. That's not going to happen. But yeah, that's always the first thing they go for. Turn it off and turn it on again. And sometimes, multiple times, they'll try to get a system to reset correctly. But it's funny because like Embraer and Airbus are airplanes of a similar generation. You know, all computerized airplanes with tons of computers doing different jobs that all have to talk to each other. And Airbus, it seems that they all talk to each other well, and they interact well. They do their jobs properly and without too many issues. But in the Embraer, if the systems don't come online in the right order and they don't establish communication in the right order, then things just go wrong. One of the examples is if the airplane is not powered up in the correct order. So if the batteries are off and the ground power is on, so the aircraft batteries are selected off but the ground power is still on, that causes all sorts of problems with Embraers. They don't like that, and the ramp guys do this, not the ramp guys, but yeah, like the towing crews do this a lot. They'll tow the airplane around the airport. They'll have the APU running, and then they'll shut down the APU and they get the gate, they'll put the ground power on, but then they'll turn the batteries off. And I guess the theory is that, you know, at least if the ground power fails, the batteries won't die. But you can't start the airplane like that then. If you're going to do that, you might as well turn the ground power off as well, because you cannot start the airplane with the ground power and then put the batteries on. It's the wrong order. The voltages don't work out correctly, the computers don't start correctly, and it usually tends to introduce all sorts of further glitches. So it's actually an Embraer SOP that if the aircraft is discovered or received with the batteries off and the GPU on, it is a complete power down. You power the airplane down completely and start again. And it's a very frustrating system with Embraer sometimes. A lot of great things about the airplane, but yes, it's a never-ending set of system resets, it seems. Always something going wrong and something needs to be reset. Airbus has not been my experience as much anyways. She is a heavy beast today. I think it's because we got pretty much a full load and we got a full tank of gas in here. We're just going to continue bringing this back here. We're just going to kind of boost the climb up to 320 here and get leveled off and cruise. So apparently, yeah, like that's what I've been told. Anyways, I have never actually flown a real Airbus, but the whole idea of like glitches like that, like little electrical glitches, computers not talking to each other properly, is a non-issue in the Airbuses. It almost never happens, supposedly. That's what I was told. She is climbing like a dog, though. Man, just does not want to climb it. If I bring the speed back, it gives it a nice little quick boost, but then lose out on it just as quickly. I don't want to go too much slower than this. We're now down to Mach 70. Maybe we can go a little slower if we have to, but just trying to make sure it doesn't take me the next 100 miles to climb just to 320. We're almost there now. It's about as slow as I'm going to bring that back, though, I think. And that last 1,000 feet is going to take the next 10 minutes. Oh, Lord. And there, she reached 260 knots, and now she's struggling to maintain even 260 knots. But it's got to be hot out there, too. Let's see here. ISO plus 10. Okay, that's not crazy hot, though. It's been a warm summer, so ISO plus 10 is actually not that crazy hot. It could be hotter. I've been bombing around the last couple days, and even, you know, the average ISO along the flights has been like ISO plus 15, ISO plus 17. And this is, you know, on a flight that goes up to 30,000 feet and back down. And for it to be, the atmosphere to be that warm, that high up is quite unusual anyways.
1,000 to go.
Checked. Hopefully we can finish this in 1 minute here and then put it back into managed speed. Oceanic flying. not the most exciting flight in the world. And ditto on the VATSIM network, where we often do not have a lot of controllers out here. What are we in right now? We are in the San Juan Oceanic. Then we're going to cross into the Miami Oceanic. I'm just looking at my VAT spot here. I can also look at it on my SimToolKitPro here. I don't want to take up too much of my space here while I'm just about to levels, because I want to put it back in the minute speed. But yeah, we're going to take a very northern route here. So we're going to do a lot of offshore flying, and then somewhere in North Carolina we'll be back on shore. But yeah, not too much coverage here. Actually, there is. And I heard a click. What was that, buddy? Oh, it was probably just him to hit this table. Set managed speed. Okay, we're managed speed. There's All-Star. Yeah, it is lovely. So there's managed speed. It'll keep the power up and re-accelerate back again. And we're on our way. Yeah, right now along our route of flight, there is no ATC until after we land in Toronto, and we have a single ground controller who just logged on a few minutes ago. But it's going to be about 3.5 hours till we get to Toronto. So with any luck, we may get some Toronto controllers down there, because I have a feeling some of you guys are watching the stream. Would be appreciated. If not, I'm not going to complain. I'm happy to have whatever ATC I can get on the VATSIM network. So, but if anybody is online, we are going to pass through Washington airspace and Cleveland airspace as well at some point. I don't know if any of them are watchers of this channel at all. Alright, so we're leveled off in cruise. Everything is hunky-dory. We're on our way, and of course, now, I have not streamed for over 2 weeks now. I think it's been 16 days since I last streamed. So what we're about to talk about is old news to everybody, but nevertheless, I want to talk about it because it's exciting. And that is, of course, that I think it was about 3 days after I did my last stream, I swear. No, I think it was last week, early last week. Microsoft announced the release date for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And probably all of you guys who are fans enough to watch this stream know that already. This is not news to any of you, but nevertheless, we can talk about it, guys, because honestly, now this is getting exciting. Those of you that have watched my stream in the past, watched my videos in the past, know that I've been skeptical about 2020 for a while now. And it's, I think it's as much Microsoft, you know, as much as they have done a great thing with Flight Simulator in the past, anything they put their name on tends to create all sorts of issues, delays. I don't have a lot of faith in Microsoft to bring a product to market well, on schedule, you know, even Windows nowadays. And you know, back in the day, like Windows, we used to curse it a lot now. There was Windows peaked a while back, unfortunately. It was great for a while. XP was still, I think, one of the best versions of Windows. And then we moved into like the Windows 7, Windows 8 debacles, and even Windows 10. It generally works, but Microsoft breaks so much stuff with it all the time. They release unvetted patches that everyone has to have, and this is, I think maybe this is probably the biggest problem with Microsoft Windows now, is not so much that it's got problems. It's that the problems are forced upon people. The updates are automatic. With XP, you had to go in the security center and mark the ones you want to download or not and hit upgrade. I mean, you could have automatic, but you could just as easily have manual updates. And then that way, problems that came along, you were not always instantly, everybody in the world all of a sudden instantly had these problems. But now everyone's forced to update within like weeks of, within a week or two of a patch being released. Every single person in the world is forced to update. And Microsoft does not do extensive testing of these patches before they send them out, and that's probably what blows my mind, is an operating system. This runs your computer. This should be bulletproof, solid. This is not Facebook. This is not some useless social media website where if it goes down for a day, people whine and bitch that they are not getting their social fix, but at least their computer still works. This is the operating system of your computer. It should not be something you're toying with. Oh, let's try pushing a little update. If it doesn't work, well, we can always try and reverse in the next update in 6 months. That is not the correct philosophy for developing an operating system. So this is probably, I think, part of the reason why I was always a little bit skeptical of, not of Microsoft Flight Simulator as a whole, the new version as a whole, but just wondering what it has in store. And the ability, for them to bring it to market in a reasonable period. I would not have been surprised if Flight Sim 2020 was not released until 2021 or 2022. That would not surprise me at all. So when they announced the release date, a week and a half ago, I got bitten by the bug. I got a little bit excited. I'm happy to I'm definitely happy to see that it's going to finally have a release date and it's going to be out in wide access. So, and honestly, to me, almost surprisingly soon. I guess it's just a game at the end of the day. Like, it's a simulation, it's a game, it's not critical, it's not an operating system. You know, if it doesn't work one day, then okay, so you go read a book or something, or go outside, you know, sit on the porch and have a beer if it's not working. You know, it's not like you can't function without it. But I'm a little bit surprised at how quickly it's going from beta, through beta, and into wide release. But it's funny, I read a comment today that, you know, Google has never officially released anything from beta. Everything Google ever releases is beta, and it makes me think, you know, is this first version, is it going to be like an early access kind of, almost like a wide open beta that you know, is going to be released on August 14th, where they, and certainly it's funny because like the lines of software development have blurred now. It's no longer, you know, you have to have it perfect by this date. We're not going to release it till it's perfect because, you know, nobody's going to update it for the next who knows how long. You know, patches are so easily distributed now, and automatic patches are so easily sent out that the software doesn't have to be perfect on the day it's released because it can be patched repeatedly. So the line, you know, of a release date being, you know, oh, the software has to be rugged at that date and it has to be releasable because people are not going to be able to update it. That's long gone. You're not distributing stuff by CDs anymore. Now it's all done digitally and it's easy to do updates. So there's not the same inherent need to have perfect software on release day. So maybe that's why. It seems to me like it's a very short time period that it's going to be in beta. Like, it's going to be basically a month in beta. And for such a large piece of software too, like at the end of the day, like the whole world data set, you know, multiple airplanes available in it, all these things, it seems like it still feels like it's being a little bit rushed out there. It does. It feels like, you know, they just came out of alpha, and the alpha was very long. I guess the alpha, well, not saying very long, but the alpha has been publicly known to be out there for like a year or so in you know, the closed alpha testing format where people could actually sign up and be contacted by Microsoft to test these things. So it's been out there for a while in the alpha version, but it just seems like still there's a lot of stuff to discover. It's a huge piece of software. I'm sure there's going to be lots of things that people are going to find out after the beta phase is ended and the full release comes out that are not working properly. And especially given that, you know, and Asobo acknowledged this right at the beginning, is that the flight simulation niche is a very special and unique niche in the gaming world, in that it's got a very dedicated set of hardcore fans and developers that work on it. There's not a lot of other games where there's a lot of paid third-party DLC. You know, there may be paid DLC from the original developer, but paid third-party DLC is not something that a lot of other software has in common. So I think it's a very niche market, and they recognize that the third-party developers do a huge job in holding this market up and holding this, you know, the old software, the FSX, the P3D, together, making it relevant, making it usable for more people. So it surprises me that they're willing to release Flight Sim 2020, given that it sounds like the add-on development, the SDK, is in a very rough state from everything that I've read. It's still in a very rough state, you know. It does not sound like anybody really is going to be ready to launch, any third-party developers are going to be ready to launch on day one. That's the general gist I've gotten from everything that I've read, is that none of the third-party developers are going to be ready to launch on day one. It's just going to be the default airplanes and scenery, which is still, it's probably going to be worlds above what I'm looking out of the window right now. But I'm going to miss my airplanes, that's for sure. The scenery is going to be better, but I'm going to miss my airplanes. This Airbus is a lot of fun. Obviously, the NGXU is a lot of fun. The Majestic Dash, the Mad Dog, the 717, all the PMGG stuff, it's all a lot of fun to fly. So not having that available on day one, that's going to be a big downfall, I think. I think people are still going to leap on it because of the scenery and the technological jump forward in that respect. But I think within a reasonable period of time, within a couple of weeks to a month, you know, I think myself personally, I'll be jonesing to get back into a very systems-intensive airplane. I'll be jonesing to get back into P3D and get into some really high-quality systems airplanes, because for me, it's as much about the airplane itself and the flying of the airplane as it is the looking out the window and enjoying the scenery. And guys, feel free to react to anything I'm saying here, because I'm just sort of talking, you know, spewing in some opinions here. So feel free. Like, I'd love to have a conversation about this. So it surprises me, but at the same time, it also did change my mindset. Knowing that there's a target release date, it did make me sit up, pay a bit more attention to what's going on with it as a whole. Up until, you know, they announced a release date, it was sort of just one of those theoretical, hypothetical software to me. I mean, yes, of course there's the open alpha and there's lots of videos out there about it, but it's still, you know, until at least a release date is announced, to me it was just hypothetical. It's something they're working on. You know, who knows when it's actually going to be released. I wasn't expecting it to be released this quickly. I was expecting, you know, probably another couple months at least before it came out. So I was a little surprised, especially, and again, the short date, like basically 4 or 5 weeks. Oh, we're going to release it in 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, it's longer than version 5 of P3D, which I think was 7 days, but still, it surprised me that it was such a short announcement window from the day it's going to be, you know, announced to the day it's going to actually be out there for public consumption. But it did sort of make it much more real. To put a date on it, to me, made it super real now. Now it's something that I can actually plan on. When it was just a hypothetical software without a date, without even like a quarter, like there was very little kind of even, oh, we're hoping to have it by second half of 2020, or, you know, Q3 or even Q1 of 2021 or anything like that. There was no real even speculation about the dates. So to actually have it now made it much more real. So it's something that now I've been watching more. I've been looking into it more, trying to see what's available initially and whether it's going to be worthwhile initially. And I'm happy to talk to you guys and say, what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's going to be worth the price initially? Without any additional third-party add-ons, is it going to be a worthwhile purchase? The scenery alone, it does look gorgeous, but I do have a problem with default airplanes that don't fly well. And I know that they focused on this quite a bit over quite a few of their videos. I have watched quite a few videos, and they have focused on trying to make the airplanes more flyable, more realistic, even default airplanes. And that, I think, will be will hopefully make it more usable, more user-friendly. So will I go out and buy it on day one? I don't know. I'm leaning towards a yes, though. It's leaning highly towards a yes, because it looks like it's going to be a good combination of airports and airplanes to play with, and even the default airports. And again, this is something that I kind of want to see other people experience. I kind of want to see some videos. I want to get out there. I want to see other people's takes on it. You know, the alpha's been all NDA, non-disclosure, so people haven't been able to talk too much about it or submit too many videos. You haven't been able to see too much about there. Obviously, Asobo and Microsoft, when they do put together a video, they're putting together the best of the best that they can get out there, the really highly detailed areas. So I want to go to the other airports, the non-detailed airports, and see how good they look. They look like, a P3D airports with just a runway on a green polygon with a couple of really blocky textured boxes next to it, or do they look, halfway decent, like where if you sort of, if you'll glance quickly at it, you're like, yeah, no, I believe I'm at that airport, or is it going to be pretty sparse from a scenery perspective? I have no doubt the detailed ones are going to be pretty darn good. They, just to see some of those videos, they look really darn good. And then the airplanes as well. How good are they going to be, really? And especially the airliners, the 787, like that one, sort of the fact they have the 787 in there, that one came out of left field. Oh my God. We're going to have the most modern airliner in the world, pretty much, here in this software. Is it really going to be systems heavy? Is it going to be systems light? Is it going to be like flying a heavy 172 with just a bigger wingspan and a heavier weight inputted, but otherwise no other realistic feel, no realistic systems? How realistic is this stuff going to be? I think that's really, to me, the airplanes, I think, make the sim almost more than the scenery. But that's probably because I'm a pilot. I'm used to thinking about the airplanes and how they work, and I want to see them work the way they're supposed to work. I think a lot of people are more obsessed with the eye candy outside the window than the systems. That's me. I'm as much about the systems as I am about the eye candy. So the other interesting question that this sort of brought up to me too is, how many of you have pre-purchased a copy of Microsoft Flight Simulator? Because you can buy it now. You can't play it yet, you can't download it yet, but you can buy it now. And isn't that a kind of a funny concept now? And I thought about this, pre-purchasing software in the digital age. It's kind of a funny concept now. You know, back in the day, when you had to go to the store and get yourself a disc to get the latest game, okay, pre-purchasing something kind of made sense because there was a limited number of physical discs that they might manufacture and distribute, and you had to make sure your name was on the list. You had to buy one, put down the money, and then they would guarantee you that you're going to get one on day one. You just go to the store and here's the copy that you ordered. You know, but there's a physical limit to how many they can produce, how many they can distribute by release date. And if you haven't put down your money in advance, you may not get a copy on the release date. They might be all sold out. But in the era of digital software, where everything's just downloaded, is it really necessary to pre-purchase anything? And I guess the one argument you can make for that is that for the gigantic software that you're going to have, things like the Flight Simulator, and I think Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto, these are some of like the largest games out there. And if they're locked in by a store, then the store can actually send you the game before you're allowed to play it and just lock it out, so you can't actually play it. It's on your computer or it's downloaded, in the week leading up to the release. That way the servers are not overloaded on release day. And that's the only problem with the digital software model, is on release day, the server could get totally overloaded. See, and for me right now, I haven't put any money down for Flight Simulator yet. I have not, because I'm not... I'm about 95% certain I am going to probably buy it within the first week after release, but I don't see the point of putting the money down early. I'm not getting any reward from that, for putting my money down early. I can keep it in my bank account and get an extra 5 cents of interest. It's not really much in the grand scheme of things, but it's what a funny concept in the digital age. You don't need to buy software 3 months, place your order for software 3 months in advance, because it's not going to make a difference. You're still going to get it on the same day as the guy who bought it, who ordered it 3 days in advance, or you might get it just a little bit earlier than the guy who buys it the same day, because yours might download and be on your computer sooner. And at 150 gigabytes, guys, that's not going to be an inconsequential amount of downloading. This is the kind of software that almost lends itself to torrenting, official commercial torrenting, where the software is distributed across the entire network and everyone shares their copy of it to get it out there faster than just being downloaded from central servers. Just think of how much data is going to be downloaded from the Microsoft servers that first week it's out. If just to throw a hypothetical number out there, if 1,000 people buy it, that's 150 terabytes of download data. If 10,000 people buy it, what's after a terabyte? Is it a petabyte? That's 1.5 petabytes of data that'll have to be sent out if 10,000 people buy it. So, it's a lot of data that those servers are going to have to distribute. So, they're going to have to distribute it probably a little bit early. So it's interesting to think about that, but the idea of pre-buying software, I think, it's a little bit funny. The other advantage to pre-buying software is supporting a developer that you know and love, and there are some certainly smaller studios that need that love, that don't have deep pockets, that need to know that their software is out there and maybe just help pay the bills in the interim before the actual release date. When I think of studios like Microsoft, any Microsoft studio, when I think of like Rockstar Games. Rockstar Games does not need no pre-buy money from nobody. Sorry for the many double negatives on that one, but just their bank accounts are so deep, they don't need to be. Yes, they fund the development up front, and yes, they spend a lot of money developing their games, but they also have huge investors. I'm talking about the small studios, the 1-person, the 5-person studios that come up with fun little fringe games. Those are the ones that probably could use your pre-buy money. Microsoft does not need your pre-purchase money, that's for sure. So it's an interesting concept, in the digital age, like, do we really need to pre-buy software? It's certainly not a month in advance anyways. So what's going to be out in that first version? I guess I probably should have queued this up ahead of time and had this ready to go, but I was happy to just get this flight underway. So let's just have a quick little look-see here. Let's see if I can find it here somewhere. Can't find it now, of course, when I want to find it, but... I should have looked this up ahead of time, guys. I'm sorry. I should have been prepared for this. Okay. Alright. I know there's a couple other ones, but I found this one anyways really quickly here. But aircraft included in the default version. And then deluxe and premium. So in the default version, you get the Airbus A320, which is good. Of course, you get the 747-8, and of course, the second you talk about airliners, again, I wonder, like, how realistic are these airliners? It's nice to see a lot of the GA aircraft come back. It's a pity that P3D lost so many of these good GA airplanes. They lost the Cessnas and the Beechcraft aircraft. So it's good to see that the Beechcrafts are making a comeback. We got the Bonanza, we got the King Air. We got a 172 back again, the most iconic airplane out there. We got Diamonds, we got an X-Cub there, Pit Special for some fun aerobatics. We got the 152 as well as the 172. We got the Caravan, and the Icon A5 I think will also be a really fun airplane to fly. Amphibious airplane, I think that's going to be a really neat one to fly. Then you move into the Deluxe Edition, and you've got a better 172s. You got the 172 without the G1000, which I thought was a bit weird to put in the Deluxe Edition. And the Diamond DV20 DA40. And then in the Premium Deluxe, you get the 87, the Cirrus SR22, the Citation Longitude. So, I've got to say, like, as a default set of aircraft, especially as someone who's been prepared and sees half the default airplanes are military airplanes, it's good to see such a great selection of civilian airplanes, a wide-ranging selection of civilian airplanes, airliners, you know, airlines, as well as a lot of small GA airplanes here that will be really great for going out there and checking out the scenery. And as long as they fly well, and that to me is something that they fly well and they work well. Like, the systems don't have to be perfect, but you know, you take a Cessna 172, the systems are not exactly crazy advanced. There's not too many electronics if you ignore the G1000 aspect. It's a pretty, you know, the Cessna 172 itself, or a Cessna 152, is a pretty simplistic airplane. So I would hope that they can get the flight dynamics pretty well, and I hope that the systems work well. You know, there's not that many buttons. There's maybe a half dozen electrical switches that turn on different lights around the airplane. I would expect in this generation that each of those light switches is going to do what they're supposed to do separately. That it's not like, oh, you turn on one light switch and all the light switches turn on. You know, I mean, I expect the mags to work, the mixture, the throttle to work properly. I expect all these things, like, they're not hard things to do, so I expect them all to work really well together. So from that selection though, guys, I you know, and I don't even know necessarily which version I would buy just based on the airplanes. I mean, based on the airplanes, I think you get a big enough selection, a wide enough selection. The A320 I think is the kicker here, because that is just such a universal airplane that you can use almost everywhere from an airliner perspective. And then you also combine one long-range airplane. I don't see a whole lot of advantage to the Deluxe or the Premium. The Dreamliner's nice. It kind of fits a nice niche, a lot smaller than a 747-8, because that the 747-8 will not fit in a lot of airports. But the 320 will fit in all those ones, the 747-8. So the 87 does a nice bridge of, like, yes, you can do long-haul flying, but you can go to much smaller airports, but I don't really find it necessary. The SR22, the Cirrus, is also a nice airplane, but again, if you've got, you know, you've got Bonanzas over here, you don't necessarily need that one. The Baron, too. I love the Baron. I think the Baron's a great twin airplane. Great light twin. Great for getting around. Covering a decent distance because it's got a decent speed, but also being able to do, like, drop in and do non-precision approaches and have a lot of fun with that. But again, if you got the Bonanza over here, you don't really need the Baron too much. And you got the King Air as well, which can also cover a lot of ground. So I find from an aircraft perspective, the bigger packages I don't think are nearly as necessary. I think where that will really come to play is in the airports. find... It's funny because I can find like 1,000 different ones here, but I can't find the actual official Microsoft one. I don't like that list because it's too... No, it's not organized enough. I'm just trying to find... Because they have like a great infographic somewhere and I can't bloody find it anywhere now. Dang it. Trying to find one that does not have like either ads embedded in the middle of the list or anything. It's just very frustrating here. Oh, here it is. Okay, found it. Sorry guys. Okay. Anyways, so here is the list of airports as well. Now, you guys have all seen this, but you know, just a comment on it. And I do think it's a good list overall. If I can almost get the whole thing in there in one go there. Even the standard has a good collection of airports. Aspen County, that's just a fun one to do, and I think the scenery is going to be great there. Courchevel, ditto for just having absolutely fantastic scenery around the airport to enjoy. And then we got Madeira in Portugal. Gibraltar, we got Innsbruck. Innsbruck, there's another one that will be really good to see in a new level simulator with the beautiful, gorgeous mountain approaches. And then you've got some of the other big airports around the world. So you've got LAX. You've got JFK, MCO, Paris, Charles de Gaulle, which has kind of been missing a good one from P3D for a while, I think. You got Rio, Galileo. I don't know how to say that. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. You've got SeaTac, Sydney. You got Telluride. You got Haneda. And then I love this one down in here. Throw in the Billy Bishop again. Great scenery, a beautiful approach you can do here. So very different in that a lot of these are natural scenery, if you will, like mountainous terrain. And this one is more of a very urban scenery. So it's a little different, but it'll be great, I think, to see how they take care of downtown Toronto. So a great collection of airports. You can do a fair amount of good flying here. You've got some of the major airports in all the different areas covered. You've got JFK in Orlando. You've got Charles de Gaulle, you've got Sydney, so you can do some long-haul flying with that 747-8 SeaTac. Haneda, you can do some long-haul flying with that. But you've also got quite a few smaller airports that you'll be able to enjoy. So that alone is a fairly good collection. But then the deluxe and the premium, to me, this is what more makes it worth the deluxe or the premium edition, is the airports and not the airplanes. Amsterdam Schiphol, Cairo, Cape Town, O'Hare in the deluxe version, and then in the it's premium, right? Deluxe premium, yeah. And premium, then you get Denver, Dubai, Frankfurt, Heathrow, San Francisco. Like these ones, especially these five right here. These five premium airports make it worth buying the premium and the deluxe package combined. Schiphol and O'Hare really kind of, I think, round out this package nicely. But all five of these are major, huge international hubs. Denver's going to look absolutely fantastic. Heathrow probably will turn into a slideshow on my computer. But to me, I think it's more the airports, I think, that will make the premium edition worth it than the airplanes themselves. The airplane is a nice collection, but really these are not, kind of make or break the sim. You can kind of get by without these, but in order to do some good long-haul flying, you kind of need all these airports, I think. The one that kind of surprised me a little bit is not in here is Toronto. I mean, you've got Billy Bishop in here, and that's great if you've got a Dash 8 too, and then you don't have a Dash 8 here. Until Majestic brings their Dash 8 over, you don't have a Dash 8. You can't fly any jets in there, so that'll be a good one, I guess, for bombing around with the King Airs and the Caravans, and whatever else, all the light GA stuff. But you can't bring any jets in there. So Toronto is one that surprises me is missing as a world hub. I guess there's probably everyone else probably has their world hubs that they think are missing. Actually, Atlanta's not on here too. There's another major world hub. There's a few more American airports that you kind of wonder why they're not on here. DFW is another big hub. Kind of wonder why those ones. Atlanta, I really kind of wonder why it's not on there, but maybe it was just too much. But that would have been a great one to show off the sloping runways. Atlanta has some major sloping runways to be able to show those off, I think. But yeah, Toronto is a world hub. It surprises me it's not on there. I'm a little disappointed because as someone who's based in Toronto and who's going to fly Toronto a lot, we're not going to see a lot of it with the default scenery. I'm curious to see how good Toronto default is since it's not part of the detailed airports list here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So yeah, that's really... I'm a little disappointed about that, you know. But I realize, like, there's a limit to what they can do. There is only so many airports that can be covered. So I get that. I'm not too bitter about Toronto being missing. I'm a little bit disappointed, but I'm not bitter or anything about it. Still think it'll probably be worth it. But I'm curious to see how good will that default, non-detailed Toronto scenery look here in the new version. So that'll be something that I'll probably want to see before I shell out the money. Although I'll probably shell out the money on day one anyways, because I want to see some of the scenery and fly around. I think this will do some interesting things. Whoa. Didn't mean to make that disappear. I think one of the things I think that I'm going to probably... one of the things, too, that's going to be... I won't say it'll be the determining factor, but one of the things I'm going to want to see very early on, too, as soon as it's released, is I'm going to want to see it, of course... vPilot or some kind of VATSIM compatibility for Flight Simulator. I think that is going to be one of the things that's going to determine quickly how long before I really am willing to spend a lot of time in it too, because I enjoy this network. I always have. I think everyone that watches these streams know that I am a big fan of the VATSIM network. I think it's one of the better places to gather on the internet. People are respectful, have fun, share a common interest, and the professionalism that comes across in this network most of the time, not all the time, there are occasionally people who act less than professionally, but every time I fly in this network I'm amazed at the professionalism shown by the controllers, usually by other pilots as well. It amazes me. So until I definitely will not be able to fly the new simulator a lot until I can get online and fly it online. That's going to be interesting, because that's going to require two things. That's going to require, of course, a client, vPilot or something, vPilot or you know, one of the new clients. I can't think of Swift or something to support it. And hopefully it shouldn't be too long if the SimConnect DLLs are fairly similar to the traditional ones. But then, of course, the other thing you're going to need is an AI traffic package, and that could take a lot longer to develop, unfortunately. You could fly online without the AI traffic. It's going to be a little bit lonely. At least you can talk to people even if you can't see the airplanes out there. Once that comes out, though, I think it's going to be very interesting for a network like VATSIM, because I think, given the selection of aircraft and the lack of any major third-party airliners to go with it, I think what you're going to find is, and also given how beautiful the scenery is going to be in the new version, I think what you're going to find on VATSIM as a whole is you're going to find a huge resurgence in VFR flying. People bombing around in GA airplanes, going just checking out different cities, doing short VFR across countries to check out the scenery. I think there's going to be a huge resurgence in VFR. So for all you VATSIM controllers out there that are learning, brush up on your VFR procedures, because I think, not right away, not on release date, because I don't think any clients are going to be ready right away, but when the clients for the VATSIM network are released, even into beta, you're going to start to see a big selection of VFR flying, people picking up their light twins and their single piston aircraft out there and just bombing around doing circuits and just enjoying the scenery, because one thing you don't get in an airliner a lot of the time is you're so far above the scenery you don't get to enjoy it as much. When you can go down low and slow, get out in your Cubs crafter, you know, or any of those airplanes, you're going to see a lot more of that, I think, initially. I just hope that, you know, the AI packages that are out there can be adapted relatively quickly, even if they are kind of crude in the beginning, to work with the new simulator. I think that'll probably be the bigger holdout than the client itself, will be the getting AI packages that look decent. So that'll be the next interesting revolution. I think will be getting people online. And I know there's online multiplayer universe out there already, but I don't think it's not going to feature the kind of ATC I think that we all enjoy. Those of us that use VATSIM network enjoy. So that's one thing that I think for me more than anything will be the killer app that really makes it worthwhile to have that new simulator, is when you can get online with it properly. And until that happens, it's going to be fun. I think you're going to see a lot of people, and I think the trouble is on day one of this release, VATSIM and the other networks are probably going to see a big decrease in users as people just get out there and play with the sim offline, because they won't have the option of going online, and that'll be a bit of a shame. But of course, I think that'll be a temporary. I think that'll be a temporary drop, followed by I think an even bigger boom as people get online and still play with their new sim, but play with it online. So I think that's all I really wanted to say about the Flight Simulator 2020. It looks like it's going to be really good. I'm excited now. I'm honestly, genuinely excited to see it out there. There's a lot of stuff I want to see brought to the platform, though, before I'm going to really fully, totally commit to it. It looks like, from a scenery perspective, it is the next generation. So now it's going to be a matter of getting the things that we are so happy to have in the current generation moved on to that next generation. And it's funny, like, the things I take for granted now that I really enjoy. Things like VATSIM, things like Chaseplane, GSX, a whole bunch of fantastic airplanes with really good systems modeling, airliners that I really enjoy, a bunch of airports that I really enjoy flying to. These are all the things that I've kind of taken for granted that I have in my sim now, that I've accumulated, that are not going to be available in the new sim, at least not right away. So how long before they will be available? It's going to be a little bit, we'll say disappointing, but it'd be a little bit sad to leave behind a lot of this legacy stuff, because I really have enjoyed the P3D as a platform. It's been a good platform. It has its shortcomings, no one can argue that, but overall, it's a good platform. I think it's the versatility of the platform. It makes a great base upon which so many people have been able to add so much, not just scenery, but also utilities that work. GSX just comes to mind as one of those utilities. It's not simple, but the idea behind it is simple, and yet it adds such a level of depth and immersion that you just can't. I can't get away from it. I couldn't imagine not having GSX, and it looks like there is some built-in marshalling and pushback abilities in the new sim. Hopefully they're better than the P3D's default abilities. We'll have to see. I'll be excited to do it on release day. Here's an interesting question, because nobody here is asking me questions. I'm looking here, nobody's chatting much, but one of the interesting questions, I guess, will be, will it be worth streaming in the first little while? When, it's mostly default, and for me trying to fly a pilot's life here, I may take some time off and just do a couple of streams just flying around the simulator, just enjoying it, just doing some first impressions and experiencing it, because it's going to be a new experience. It's going to be fun. There's no doubt it's going to be fun. It will be worth streaming if people want to see it. Yeah. The funny thing is that so many people will have it out there and streaming it. So I feel like what I offer to the streaming community is something. I offer perspective as much as anything else, and I'm not trying to sound conceited or anything, but I offer like a real world, aviation perspective on the simming world. So, just to go out there and just stream just the new version. I mean, you guys have probably all seen plenty of trailers and videos now, and I probably won't have it installed. I'd be comfortable with using it for a little while, and hopefully it runs decently on my computer. That's my other concern. I'm somewhere between the recommended and the ideal equipment for the new sim, so I think I'll probably be okay. The other thing, of course, is just time sometimes too, finding the time to. But I think I will. Take a little bit of time to at least enjoy the new sim. I'll be extremely happy when I can slide some of maybe the pilot's life streaming into the new sim and see some scenery there. But the airports that I've selected are not. I don't think any of the airports I have on my monthly schedule this time around are. I'm just trying to think. I can't bring it up right now because we're in flight. It won't let me look at the next flights, so I have to stay on this page. I'm just trying to think. I don't think any of the airports in my monthly schedule are available in that list of airports that I can think of. So probably to stream a pilot's life, I will continue to switch back to P3D for the time being, just because it's got the highly detailed airports, and really that's what you're seeing. Is you're seeing the airports, right? You're taking off and landing. Otherwise, I'm at 30,000 feet. I'm 6 miles above the terrain. You know, the ocean is just a flat blue, a flat blue rectangle from here. Yeah, that's the low barrier to entry. I think is a great thing for Flight Simulator. It'll get more people into it. The Xbox people, I don't think. I'm not trying to, you know, belittle them, and I don't think they're going to be the kind of hardcore simmers that are going to stick with them for a long time. I think a lot of people will play with the scenery for a little while. But even if you get a small percentage of them, even if, like, you know, 1% or even 5% of the people who use it on Xbox, you know, get a little bit hooked on it and move into a more serious simming lifestyle, that could be a large influx of people now into this. Because one thing is that this platform has been kind of stagnant for a while. P3D, prepared is obviously Lockheed Martin's released new versions of P3D, but especially to the casual gamer, nobody thinks to go into P3D. You know, Microsoft Flight Simulator comes across as a casual game that you can just pick up and play. P3D, you can just pick it up and play it, but nobody really thinks of it. It's got Lockheed Martin's name emblazoned on it. People think it's a, you know, a highly detailed, realistic simulation. So I don't think a lot of casual people will fall backwards into P3D. If you don't know what P3D is, you'll never discover it. Whereas this is something that I think more people, you're right, with a low barrier to entry, people will fall backwards into it, and maybe some of them will become serious simmers and perhaps invest in some hardware, invest in some better airplanes, and start flying online. So I think in the short term, this will create a pretty sharp sudden drop in usage of the online networks, VATSIM and the like, mostly because people will be playing with the new sim before they can even get it online. However, once they get it online, and that becomes an option that a lot of people can use, I think what you'll see probably in the end is a increase overall in the networks flying, because you'll have people just wanting to get back in the sim again. I think this will drag some people kicking and screaming back into the sim that haven't been in the sim for a while. So I think this is going to do great things for the industry as a whole, and then hopefully by expanding the industry, the developers that we all love will also have a little bit more of a revenue pool to draw from, because at the end of the day, a lot of these developers are being funded by a small user base, and we just keep buying more scenery and more airplanes from the same developers, and there's a limit, I think, to what a lot of us are able to spend. So drawing more people into the sim world, I think, will be a good thing in the long run. And it really is something that, you know, this platform that P3D even is built on is still, it's a 13, 14-year-old platform at this point. A lot has transpired in the technological world since then, so to see that update, it's going to be great. I'll have to conduct some live streams. I will. You're convincing me to do it now, so I will probably do it. Not right away, though. I got my schedule for next month, and I'm pretty sure I will not be, I think it's actually in the middle of my vacation. However, I think I'm going to be away for part of it, so I probably won't be in the sim right away, but we'll get it installed, we'll boot it up, and we'll see what it can do. It'll feel a little bit traitorous to not fly online, because it's very rare that I don't fly online anymore, but so be it. How are we doing here? Still got a lot of ocean in front of us, I think. Where's my map there? Where are we here? There we are. Lino. We are almost abeam Miami now. We got another hour or so of oceanic flying at least here before we get to the land-based flying again. So I'm having this debate. Oh, you know what I never did? Now as I'm just scanning the flight deck, I never did turn the seatbelt sign off. Of course, in the era of COVID, you can't get up and do anything anymore, except to use a bathroom. And do you really want to use a bathroom in an airplane? Not if you can avoid it. Oh, those 213 passengers back there today are probably not happy. Oh, good, my cup of coffee is here. 1 second. I do love me some coffee. Opens the door.
For you, Captain.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you so much. Coffee. Does the copy have a smiley face on it, or is it just me? I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it just looks like a smiley face. Really, really big smile. Some people are in airplanes, they just have big smiles on. Yeah, so that was basically the gist. That was basically the bulk of what I want to talk about. I was excited. I was excited last week and disappointed because I knew I would not get to stream last week. So I knew it was going to be like a week and a half after the announcement before I finally got to chat about the release of Flight Sim 2020. But I think I got most of it off my chest now. It is something that I'm probably going to be into right away as well. I definitely won't be using it exclusively, and I'm not going to give up on the P3D platform anytime soon. But I am getting excited to get my hands on this new sim. Alright. Well, it's been about 2 hours since I started this stream, and as I said, we got about an hour of oceanic flying here. Not much going on right now. So I think we're going to step away for a break time now here. I'm just trying to have a look here and see roughly when we have landfall again, because that'll help determine when we really want to come back. So, Echo Charlie Golf or just before, because we may get some ATC coverage up there in Washington. They have been on a little bit more in this time frame lately. So 1702 Zulu. So that's just about an hour and 15 minutes from now. So I think I'm going to take this time now to step away from the flight deck for a little bit here, and yeah, give my mouth a little rest. Yeah, we'll definitely come back, check in again at least in an hour and see if there's any ATC online for our overland portions. I feel like we're not going to get any oceanic control here. But when we hit Washington Center, maybe we'll get some control there, Washington, Cleveland, and if not, hopefully Toronto controllers listening, and we'll be there from our arrival in Toronto. Estimated Toronto at 1845 Zulu. So that is 3 hours from now. That'll also be it. But we'll come back at least to check in as we start the overland portion in about an hour, and if nothing much is going on, we may step away again. But if you guys have anything to chat about, please pop it in the chat window. You know, I'll be happy to talk about it when I get back in the flight deck, and otherwise, I'll talk to you guys in an hour or so. So thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate all the people watching, all the likes, and keep tuned to the channels. Hopefully, we'll keep these videos coming. We'll try and get that new simulator out there when it comes out too. So stick with me, guys, and we will be back in just a few minutes here. Let's just get that external view going here. Cinematics. There we go. Switching to the non. Gonna get rid of this too for now. And we will be back by, we'll call it 1705 Zulu this time, and we'll see what happens. So thank you guys for watching, and we will be back in a little while.
still determined to push ahead. Of course. I don't even ask why.
Alrighty guys, welcome back into, well, not into the flight deck, because I'm going to sit out here and watch the outside of the airplane for a couple minutes here, but welcome back to the channel, guys. For those of you that are still watching, thank you very much for tuning in, and let's just do a quick little checkup, actually, from the neck up here, as we should do with all flight simulators. A good checkup from the neck up would be a good idea. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That's the button I meant to hit. Let's go ahead and get in that flight deck now. Ooh, look at all those airports up ahead there. Map partly displayed. Yeah, running out of range there. As promised, we're coming back into the overland portion of our flight now. We had a good 2 almost solid hours there of oceanic, but we're going to leave that all behind us now and over a good corner of America on our way back up to Canada. And so we are just coming up now on the outer banks of North Carolina here, where we're going to sort of head overland and then take a turn back to the north, back towards Toronto. Show you that in my live map as well. So we did come up here, and here we are just a couple miles offshore, well, 50 miles offshore, whatever, on our way back, and we're going to basically take a turn north through Washington Center, Cleveland Center, and on back up to Toronto. One thing I noticed, actually, I don't know if you guys can see this here. You can't see this. Hold on, let me just change this here. One thing I noticed is one of the updates in SimToolKitPro here. A really small change, but a really neat change here. If I scroll along here to Toronto, because the route that loaded from SimBrief had the arrival in it, all the restrictions on the star are now published here on my SimBrief map. CDAB, below flight level 13,000, above flight level 1000, equal 250 knots. Exactly 250 knots, not plus or minus, but 250 knots. CGOD, 210 knots. And even on final here, you can see 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Kerpu should be below 3,000, above 2030. So all the restrictions on in the database, in the star database and the approach database, are now published here on your SimToolKitPro LiveMap for you to look at if you want. So just making it that much more useful as a tool. I really like that. I just noticed that I don't even know when that came out, but let's see, we're on a version 6.11 here, so there's been a couple of updates here, and I haven't even, I hate to say, been paying attention, but the updates happen silently in SimToolKitPro. Sometimes you don't even know that it's updated. It just simply downloads an update silently in the background. It installs it, waits for you to restart SimToolKitPro the next time you fly the sim, boom, the new version's running, and you don't even know sometimes what the latest version is or what the changes are. I don't even know if there is a way on here to display the changes. There used to be. It used to be able to get it up, but I don't see it on here anymore. I don't see a list of changes, so yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything on there, unfortunately, so what are you going to do? Something else interesting I noticed here, the latest news column has now been expanded a little bit. It no longer just includes FS Elite. It now includes FS Elite and Threshold, Threshold, which is more of an X-plane focused. FS Elite, I would say, is pretty equal opportunity news platform. I think they really cover all the major sims, but Threshold has got a specific X-plane focus. But that being said, the developer of SimToolKitPro, I think, is more of an X-plane user, so not surprised to focus on that. But it also just provides a better selection of news from multiple locations, which is kind of nice. Yeah. So things are slowly iterating through the software. It really is quite useful software, the SimToolKitPro. I like it. Every time I open it up, I seem to find something new. So we're going to have a quick look through here, through the flight deck, just to make sure nothing changed while we were out of the flight deck for an hour. The FO had the plane. He says nothing changed, but frankly, we don't trust those low-time FOs, do we? We want to see it for ourselves here. Just 1 second. I just got to bring this up on my other screen for a second here. If I can figure out where I put that. There it is. There you go. Need a cough button on this thing here. Okay. So just a quick scroll through the Ecamm pages here. Everything looks perfectly normal in the engine. PSI at 24, temperature 8 degrees. Bleeds are providing lots of air. The pressurization system is non-functional apparently for some reason, or the sensors are. Electrical system. Voltages all appear normal. Outputs appear normal. Hydraulic system. Everything's at 3,000 PSI. Good. Fuel system. We got 9,000 kilos. Let's see here. We got 9,000 kilos used and 9,400, which means we should have started with about 18.5, which I'm pretty sure is what we started with. So Based on those numbers, we have not leaked any fuel. APU's not running. Air conditioning system seems to be keeping the cabin at a nice stable 24 degrees. All the doors are still in the green. Wheels are nice and cool. Flight controls, everything is pretty neutral. That's it. Done. So there's our quick just status update. Yeah, I believe the FO. He said nothing changed, and it looks like he was correct. Let's see here. So what was I going to chat about? So, yeah, the one thing, and I was kind of looking at it here. Actually, the one thing I checked while I was away there, I looked up a few things on the interweb while I was gone there, and the one thing that I did read was somewhere in a forum, somebody posted that, I think it was actually on Reddit, that they posted that vPilot apparently already has an alpha version that works with FS2020. So I guess some of the guys that have access to the alpha versions of FS2020 have already rewritten vPilot to support it. So apparently pretty much on... Excuse me there. Boy, still too much talking. Yes, so as I was going to say, apparently there is an alpha out there, not in wide distribution, but there is a closed alpha of vPilot that supports Flight Sim 2020. Apparently it's working, it's fully functional at this point and is ready to be released, so that the day FS2020 releases will be the day that vPilot releases, and you'll be able to get back on the VATSIM network in the new simulator pretty much from day one. That to me is great news. Again, you guys all know I am an ardent VATSIM supporter. I think flying online is fantastic. You see other people out there, you share your hobby with them, and you experience the realistic control. No matter how good the AI is, I have never found an AI that comes close to matching real people. You can follow scripts and sort of program it, but it lacks the texture of talking to real people. Everyone's a little bit different. Real people are all a little bit different. They all have a little bit different ways of doing things, different ways of chatting with you, different ways of getting information from you. Even within the standard phraseology, people have just little differences of technique, just like every pilot is a little bit different, every controller is a little bit different. So I find that AI, AI ATC programs that I've seen and that I've used have a very one-dimensional feel to it. It feels like it's just the same controller doing it all the time, following an exact formula, following a script, and no creativity. And there is creativity available to controllers in terms of how they handle things, in terms of how they handle aircraft, whether it be speed control, vectoring, or dealing with things, not so much in the center. When you're en route, things are pretty quiet and straightforward. Even then, there may be, even the interactions you have with the center, even at altitude though, whether it be obtaining weather reports and dealing with deviations, trying to offer people direct flights further along, and even the way they pass them off to other controllers, it varies from person to person. It's not scripted tightly. There is common phraseology, but there is always a little room for personalization within there. So I like that. Different people sound different ways, they talk different ways, and it's just something that computers cannot come close to replicating, and I'm sure Microsoft's going to say, oh, their AI is fantastic. It's still not going to be able to compare to dealing with real people. So good news. VATSIM appears to be already poised to support Flight Sim 2020 from pretty much day one of release, which is just great. Now that being said, of course, that's vPilot itself. The second important side of this equation, though, is aircraft, is the AI models, and how will they be supported initially. And I have a feeling that's going to probably be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging on the uptake. I tried to find some information about it. I couldn't seem to find anything. I was looking, scrolling around on the good old interweb, couldn't find too much. I couldn't find too much information about whether or not there's any models out there. Fly AI would be the first one I go to, because they are the most common, most versatile. Not most versatile, but probably the most extensive, I think is the word I'm looking for. The most extensive collection mind there was a Facebook link here somewhere. Yeah, I didn't actually look at the Facebook group, so I'm just going to have a quick peek at it just to see if there's... I'm not even logged into Facebook on this computer anymore. Shows how infrequently I actually really use Facebook. I really have become not a fan of Facebook anyways. Doesn't look like there's been too many posts recently in the Fly AI group, which means certainly not since the day of the announcement, which means, well, it doesn't mean much right now. Just don't know if that's going to mean if there is anything or not. I imagine that they would like to support it. It's a question of now, nobody's made models. Nobody even knows how the models are being set up for this new software, except for the developers who have got NDAs signed. And they may understand how the AI models are working, but you know, a lot of these AI models are all legacy models too that have been developed over through like FS2004 and FSX and into P3D, and a lot of them have been sort of added on and tweaked a little bit, but you know, they may have to start over with fresh models. So that may be the one kind of side of the equation that does not come quickly. And the only other airplanes you're going to see are the other airplanes of the sim, which there is a variety of them. There's 30 of them available. It's not a small number of airframes. In the grand scheme of things, it's not nearly enough, but it might be enough to at least get some level of immersion. And with the number of people who will probably be flying those 30 airplanes in the beginning, because they'll all be logged into Flight Sim 2020 and flying that, it'll probably work out okay for a little while, but it will definitely be challenging. It'll be something that that'll probably be the biggest thing, and that's what I figured. You know, I'm not trying to say vPilot's a piece of cake, but relatively speaking, most of the code there is going to be probably fairly similar. Especially if the SimConnect DLLs are the same, so probably not a whole lot of major changes happening to vPilot, whereas the AI models live within the sim. vPilot sort of dwells outside, just interacts with the sim. The AI models live in the sim. They are going to be much harder to update. It's going to be probably a much longer time frame to get some models out there, so hopefully we've got some great people in our community that are going to work on that. I am not one of those people. I'm just a mooch, apparently. I just mooch off of other people and their successes. I like to think I contribute something at least. I provide some ATC, so I think I do some good work there. Everyone has their own skills, and that's the nice thing about this community is people donate what they can. They donate their time. Some people learn to do different things. I could learn to do it, but I could try, but then I would have no time for anything else, I think. So I will keep on streaming and hoping for the best for some AI models sooner rather than later. But I think that's going to be the biggest determining factor. Okay, let's see, what else was I going to do here? I was just going to have a look at the flight plan here. We had a step climb somewhere in here. Galvin. After Galvin, we're supposed to climb to 340. Have we passed Galvin already? On our way to Armel, Phillipsburg, Wozy. Yes, I think we did. So we're going to go ahead and do our step climb up to 340. Climb, thrust, climb. So as of yet, no word on Fly AI. Or anybody else for that matter that I could find. I can't really find anything. Sorry, I'm just looking just to see if... I was searching for some stuff, you know, while I was away there, and just trying to see if I can find any more information, clean it from a different search engine, but still nothing much coming in there. So that'll probably be the biggest thing we're waiting for, is for some good quality AI models. But one thing that I am happy about is that with the announcement that FS2020 would release this, or next month, the developers started to come out of the woodwork to announce what they were planning on who is planning on supporting what, and that's great. That's good to see that there is a lot of support happening out there right now for the new platform. Of course, we all know that PMDG, I think, was one of the first to really get behind the new platform. They announced very early on that they were going to support the new platform. And I did manage to pick up my NGXU during their little giveaway before Christmas. Not giveaway, but their little deal before Christmas. If you bought the NGXU before the end of the year last year, you would get the full... Checked. You would get the full price credited towards your purchase of the NG3, which is supposed to be for the FS2020 platform. So it makes you wonder, of course, how much are they going to charge for the NG3 then if they said you get full price credit there. Probably it's going to cross the $100 mark then for the NG3, I guess. But it won't hurt too much because I'll have already paid that $100, so I'll just pay the difference. So it won't be too bad when it comes out. So yeah, you best believe I won't be resting on my laurels there when when PMDG makes an announcement and releases the 3.7 in the new platform. I will be all over that very quickly because I've already put out most of the money for it. It's only a small amount of money left that I'll have to front to pay the difference. So that'll probably be one of the first airplanes I think that I get into the sim, and I think it's probably going to be one of those earliest airplanes that will probably release in the new sim because it seems like to hear them talk about it. There's set managed speed. It's in managed speed. I don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. It's in managed speed, you stupid airplane. Alt star. To set managed speed, like again. Fine. There, have managed speed. Okay, fine. Manual speed, managed speed. There you go. You happy? Alt star. And come on, you can do it. You can do it. Alt cruise. Yeah, so to hear them talk about it anyways, I know PMDG does have a long development cycle. They tend to take a long time to develop an airplane because of the depth of what they're doing. And that's okay. I'm not complaining about that. But it also seems, to hear it seems like they had a head start a long time ago. It seems like they were probably one of the first people to get to approach Microsoft and Asobo and say, hey, we'd like to start working on your add-on developments on your SDK, because they were talking about this probably close to a year ago, 9 months ago at least. I think they were talking about developing for the platform. So yeah, so I think it feels to me like they're going to be one of the first ones to support the new platform, just because they seem like they were the first ones to come out and say, yes, we're developing for it already. So they have that head start over a lot of other developers. That being said, the other developers have not been slouches, and certainly a lot of people have come out swinging to say that yes, we are going to support and develop for the new simulator. So let me just kind of go through it here. But among the other ones, let's see here. Among the other ones that I do know for sure that have said that they're developing for the new platform, aircraft-wise, Aerosoft was one that was on the list very early on, as yes, we are going to support the new sim. I don't think they specified what products, but they are going to. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think they said very much. They said they have full intentions of bringing their aircraft product range to new simulator. So it sounds like they're hoping to bring across everything of their recent development. So the 320 family, the 330, the RJ, those sound like they're all going to be ported in. Of course, PMDG is working on everything within their range. The 737 is the first one. However, the 47, the 777, and the DC-6, they are planning to bring all of those to the new platform as well. So that's good to know. A2A has said that they are going to work on new content. I'm not sure if they're going to bring over the airplanes they have, or it's going to be entirely new airplanes. It seems like they're sort of still figuring out what they're doing. Airplane Heaven said they're also going to take on the new airplane, but the new sim, but they haven't made a specific announcements about airplanes in particular. Who else? Coronado has not actually said anything, but Coronado has been put on as a partner on the Flight Simulator, the official Flight Simulator page. So the fact that they are listed as a partner tends to indicate that, okay, they're doing some development, but they've been kind of silent on what they're doing. So it's probably going to be mostly porting of existing aircraft, because they have such a huge stable of existing aircraft, and they tend to work more on the external visuals than the internals. I imagine that's what they're going to do, is they're going to take those external visuals and just and import them into the new sim. We just saw some lightning there. Not showing anything on the weather radar, and it looks like it's clear straight ahead anyways. So those are some of the big ones. I do believe Majestic has expressed an interest in the new sim, but has not committed to anything. And a lot of these developers, especially probably the smaller developers, were not really given an inside track. I feel like Majestic's a fairly small studio, just a couple of dedicated souls working on their aircraft, so they probably did not have the backing. I'm sure probably Microsoft charges a pretty penny, especially for the SDK and especially for early access. Yeah, I imagine they're not going to be as quick, and for Majestic, I think it's for them it's par for the course. They tend to be a little bit conservative in what they announce. They don't want to commit to anything until they know that they can. I think is the key here. So I'm sure they would love to develop for the new platform, but until they see the SDK, see what's involved, I don't think they want to commit themselves to anything. So and that's fine. That's reasonable. I hope they're going to, because their Dash 8 is just a wonderful product, and I hope they bring it into the new sim. It's such an advanced product, and so much of it resides outside of the sim in terms of the external the modeling, the flight model, that it may not be as difficult to bring into the sim as some other ones. Ditto for TFDI and FS Labs. They've also said that they are developing for the new, or say they would like to. They've expressed interest, but have not committed to the new sim yet. But the fact that they've expressed interest means probably in the long run they're going to commit, because this really is the future. If you're still developing only for the P3D platform, I don't know. Will the P3D platform survive FS2020? Probably. It'll probably survive for a long time. It's not like Lockheed Martin is depending on P3D to balance their books. I think they probably make a lot of money off selling to military customers and other advanced simulation customers. The casual simmer who's not really supposed to be using P3D anyways, for recreational purposes, is very small on their radar, I think. So I feel like the P3D platform will continue for quite some time. In terms of scenery, I think Orbex was the first one out of the gate to say, yes, we are planning full on bringing a whole bunch of our products. I don't think they've specified anything, but they have a lot of highly detailed airports that I think will fit very well into the new simulator. A lot of their airports, especially a lot of their smaller GA type airports, are extremely highly detailed, so I think they'll fit very nicely into this new simulator. I don't think they've confirmed anything specific though, just that they are definitely working on it. Other ones that have announced, Flightbeam announced that they are bringing their existing products into the new sim, and that's good. Imagine Sim. Let's see here. Imagine Sim was a while ago, but they said that they were bringing DFW into the new sim. They're working on a DFW, and that will be available for the new sim. So hopefully that means that some of the older stuff will also be coming in. And UK 2000 was another one that puts out some pretty hardcore scenery, certainly just for the UK, but still some really good scenery. So they also have announced that they want to work on the new sim, that they're planning for it. However, I think they were one of the first to really complain about the SDK publicly, that mostly that it's undocumented, that it's rough around the edges. It's not a finished SDK by any means, and that's gonna be a challenge for developers. Ask anybody who's been dealing with P3D version 5, and just when they think they've got stuff sort of worked out, things get changed and tweaked. New hotfixes get released, and then they got to change everything again. So, and I've heard that the version, even P3D version 5, the SDK was not working as well as it should have been. So, I'm sure that's the forever complaint of a developer, is that if the SDK doesn't do what you're supposed to do, then all the things you think you're going to be able to do, you can't do. Who else? Let's see here. JustSim also said they're going to bring all their products over, and that's a lot. Said that at least for some of their airports there will be a discount for you to bring airports over. I do hope that is the future as well. I hope that a lot of developers will continue to give back to the community that supported them in the past with discounted updates and transfers over to the new platform. So, if I own said airport for P3D, then instead of paying the full price, I pay 50% to update that airport to into FS2020, which will be great, because it'll help make it feel like you've not wasted away and abandoned the P3D platform, I think. So JustSim said they're definitely working on it. Pilot Experience Sim, Gaia Simulations, FSim Studios, who's been quite busy lately now, bringing a lot of good Canadian airports out there, has definitely said that they are bringing content to the new sim. MK Studios, Pacific Island Simulations. They've announced they're going to do Cleveland, and it's going to be available in the new sim. LatinVFR said they're going to bring their new products to the sim. So a lot of developers are fully supporting it. It sounds like stuff will start to come out within a reasonable time frame. This is not going to be like a year or two of you know, nothing being available. But I think one of the things I think we all take for granted now is the variety, is the sheer variety and volume of add-ons that are available for the FSX P3D platform. It blows your mind when you start to think about it. If you start to scroll through the Sim Market store, if you were to put everything in the Sim Market store into your, and everything in the Orbex store into your carts, you know, and that much money, it's going to be a while before that many products for sure are out there. But there's a lot of well-established developers now that have a budget to do this. So it's not going to be, you know, I don't think it's going to be, there's probably not going to be too much right on day one. Maybe some scenery. Scenery tends to be the easier thing to adopt to a new platform than airplanes. Airplanes can be very complex organisms within the platform because they're moving dynamic organisms. The scenery is usually, no offense to people who try to animate the scenery and create vehicles and whatnot, but the scenery is mostly pretty static. So it's not as hard, as difficult to put into a new platform as bringing a whole airplane into it. So hopefully that means that quite a few of the airports we've known and loved will be able to migrate to the new sim without a whole lot of ordeal. As far as utilities go, Rex said they haven't been able to announce any projects this time, but it says they're excited about the new platform. FS2Crew said they're going to work with the new simulator. Again, NDAs are preventing anybody from really saying any much. If you remember a little while ago, I was interested in a little simulator called On Air, kind of a company airline real-time multiplayer simulation. They said that they've been working within the new sim for a while, and they're pretty happy with it so far. So a lot of people, a lot of developers, you know, they've been very coy because I think the non-disclosure agreements prevent them from saying a lot in most cases. They've been very coy, but they are nevertheless on board with this whole new sim. So there's a lot of development happening. How quickly it's all going to come out remains to be seen. I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to happen quickly, and I'm not trying to say that in a negative way, just simply in the practical sense that the SDK is really, and the SDK is not really totally ready yet. It's you know, the software I think is still morphing, is still developing, and so I think the developers have to work with that. And yeah, I don't think they've had as much lead time as they probably would have liked. It's a whole new sim too. This is the thing. Like, even moving from FSX to P3D, things changed, but things stayed the same. A lot of the development processes and techniques and things that people had used in the past, developers had used in the past, could be applied to, you know, from FSX moved into P3D with probably minimal adjustments. Some adjustments, I'm sure, but not like crazy adjustments. But by the sounds of it, this is going to be very new. This is going to be very different. And so it's probably going to be quite a learning curve for all of the developers to get a feel for this new simulator. It's going to be probably quite a while before it's all available. So in the meantime, we'll just have to enjoy that default scenery. Unfortunately, there's quite a bit of default scenery and aircraft to enjoy, but hopefully most of our favorite airplanes will make their way into the new sim, because I will not be able to abandon the P3D platform anytime soon. Partly because of the number of airplanes, and partly because of the amount of scenery I have in it that I like. That really is quite good scenery, even though a lot of places it's less than perfect. But also just a lot of airplanes that I really enjoy flying, and I will not be able to give them up easily. You know, I look forward to taking out some of the new airplanes they have in that scenery and enjoying it. I'm really kind of excited to see the Icon, take out the Cirrus as well, and maybe even just go back to my good old-fashioned Baron and King Air and have fun with those too. But some of these high-end simulations here, the Airbuses and the Boeings and stuff, I am not going to be able to abandon the P3D platform until they are all available in the new platform. I'm not going to be able to really give up on any of this stuff. So one that actually strikes me as not being on there is Leonardo and the Mad Dog, and I wonder if there's going to be any. I feel like they did mention that they were excited about the platform at some point. I feel like I read that at some point, that they were hoping to develop for the new platform, I think. Or maybe it was just P3D version 5 they were talking about. Coming up over Washington, D.C. down there. That's the Potomac River down there, and the Washington National's right over there, and Dulles should be right along our route here. my frames will stutter momentarily when Flight Beam Dulles loads. If I haven't installed already. I mean, I even haven't installed yet. A couple of developers that were conspicuously absent so far. Hi-Fi SimTech, makers of Active Sky, have not really said anything yet. Parallel 42 have not said anything much, and developers of Chase Plane. FS Dream Team did say that they were looking forward to bringing GSX into the new platform, as it is their most popular software, so they're looking forward to bringing that in, but because of the complex nature of the software, it's like an airplane. There's a lot of moving parts and different things that interact with the other airplanes in the sim and all the other stuff in the sim. That's probably going to be a much longer time to port that than it would be just a straight up scenery, because there's a lot of moving parts in GSX. But they are working. They would like to work on it anyways. I think they haven't been able to say much. They haven't seen a whole lot of the SDK to see what they can do, but they definitely are interested in the new platform. Navigraph also hasn't said much, but Navigraph really is not one that necessarily is directly affected by the platform. They're an add-on for the add-ons, if you will. They work with the aircraft developers, and so as long as the aircraft developers are still using those databases, I think Navigraph will have full support, in the sense that they will support the airplanes that are in Flight Sim 2020. Just trying to think of any other add-ons. Leonardo's one that I would miss. I would miss the Mad Dog if I didn't have the Mad Dog. The other one is Fly Tampa, is the other one that I am eager to hear some news from, mostly because Toronto, home base for me, and I want to see a good Toronto airport in that scenery. So I hope that Fly Tampa brings their excellent Toronto scenery into FS 2020. Anybody else that we've missed? Is there any other really popular developers that I haven't mentioned that have either said they're committed, or you're wondering what their status is? Because that covers most of the people, most of the developers that I can think of. The really big software developers. There's a few out there. There's a few smaller scenery developers that I haven't seen mentioned, but I think that covers all the biggest ones. FS Dream Team hasn't talked too much about scenery, I don't think, but they have said they're definitely working on GSX, which means they will be moving to the new platform. Another one that strikes me that comes to mind actually is Derzwiecki. They've become very prolific as of late. And I wonder if they've mentioned anything. If you go to their website, they have a section for FS 2020 that says work in progress. So, read between the lines, it does say that it does seem like they are going to support the platform, which is good because they have a lot of good scenery throughout various parts of the world. I really do like their Chicago, their Seattle. Those were some really good sceneries. I did actually get their Polish airports for free, and I haven't even used it yet, so one of these days I'll have to get on it. I think it covers most of the... I can't really think of too many other major developers. FS Labs, the only one I didn't mention. I'm not really a fan of FS Labs. They said they also said they're interested, but not necessarily committed to the platform yet. I think they will. I'm just trying to think through my sim library. That covers almost all the major developers. I can't think of anybody else that I haven't really mentioned here. Even the ones who have been silent, it is a little bit odd, because at least they could say that they're working on it. They may not be able to give any details, but they can. I think Microsoft. Yeah, they really have not said too much about FS 2020, unfortunately. That's... Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to look through and see if I can glean any information. Oh. Just loaded there. flying almost right over Dulles, or yeah, right over Dulles right now. I cannot remember if I actually installed it yet or not. Alright, let's get a different angle here. Let's see, where is, should be right about, there it is. That looks like default scenery to me. I guess I have not yet installed the Flight Beam Dulles on this sim. I've taken my time installing sceneries after my last complete total reboot. I have decided to just sort of install scenery as I want it, and that way when I'm flying over these airports, I don't get the sudden performance apps for airports that I have not even flown to. Alright, anyways. I can't think of, yeah, just trying to think. I can't think of too many other developers. Cover Flight Beam, FS Dream Team, Derswiaki Fly Tampa. Certainly North America, that's LatinVFR, covered most of the major developers in this area, I think. I can't think of anybody. If I'm missing anybody, just let me know. But most people seem to be working on it. They haven't been able to say much. Microsoft's held them to their NDA, and that's fine. You know, and I think most people are happy with it. Yes, we're working on it. We don't know any details, we don't have release dates, but we're just working on it. And most people are happy with that kind of an answer. You know, I think most simmers, I think, are fairly practical people in that they understand that, like, this is, you know, you have non-disclosure agreements. You can't talk about what you're working on. And also just the fact that the software is new and you haven't necessarily seen what it's capable of, so you don't want to commit to anything. But just to say, hey, we have, you know, we are working on it. We're developing for the platform actively. That's all I think most people are happy to hear right now. And it just says, yes, we're active in the platform. When we get a chance, we'll put something out for it. So I think the first year or so might be a little bit quiet as people sort of get up to speed, but especially once the first couple of airports have started to come out from each developer and they've gotten a feel for how to set up stuff in the new sim, I think they'll start shooting out the ports of their most popular airports pretty quickly. That's about all I got to say, I think, on that. I think I've yacked for long enough about Flight Sim 2020 at this point. But I'm curious to know what you guys think as well. If anybody wants to just say what they think and if they're actively watching for the platform or not. If they've already put down the money for the day one purchase, or they're planning on it, saving their pennies right now. I've definitely saved my pennies. I have put a complete and total halt on any other sim-related expenditures for the time being. Saving my pennies for the full version, for the premium version of 2020, because I want those premium airports. I want the Chicago O'Hare. I want the Denver, the Dubai, London Heathrow. These are all airports that are, to me, are almost critical to have. So I think they did a pretty good job of picking airports and forcing almost everybody into the premium package. I think they're going to sell a lot of premium copies. Alright. Still no ATC along our route yet, except for the ground in Toronto. Still hanging out there. Still trying to do something. It's been 2 hours and 48 minutes now, so probably by the time we get there he'll be gone. But anyways. I think I will step away again for just a few more minutes. Maybe about the next 20 minutes or so. Let's see here. Our top of descent at 18:07. So yeah, it's about 20 minutes from now. Is it really 20 minutes from now? I guess it is. Okay. So yeah, we'll step away for about 15 minutes just to refill my coffee cup one more time, and then we'll start getting it set up for our arrival in Toronto. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Keep in the channel, and yeah, like I said, we'll be back in just 20 minutes here for our descent and landing into Toronto. Stay tuned, guys. We will see you in a few minutes.
Sorry, I know I messed up. We can go back. I can go back.
It's alright.
guys, welcome back. I like that view that we were just there, the little overhead view. I thought that was really kind of a nifty look for that airplane. Wish I had stepped back in a little sooner and seen more of it, but that was really quite a neat way to watch the airplane flying over the landscape. So I may see if I can make a chase plane view that replicates that one soon. But right now, we're going to hop back in the flight deck because we are going to be heading down very soon here. Ooh, we do have Toronto Arrival online. Somebody's been watching my stream. It's not really all about me. I'm not a narcissist, I swear. Okay, but yeah, we're coming up to our top of descent here for Toronto there. As you can see, it's scrolling into view. It doesn't take very long in this airplane sometimes. Actually, it was a while, but nevertheless, we are going to start getting ourselves set up here. So, I'm going to really quickly first thing I'm going to do is grab the ATIS because we may need to reprogram our runway here. And let's see what we're doing here. Arrivals and departures 6 left. That is, I'm pretty sure, as we planned it. Yes, perfect. Okay, so no need to change that at all. So, let us get that track IR working for us again here. And we're pretty much approaching top of descent here. So I'm going to go ahead and start this airplane to descend a little bit here. We'll do 240 initially here. If I can get it to click there. There we go. And there's descent. Alright, and we are going to... Yes, we got the ATIS in Toronto. Wind 020 at 8, variable 310 to 040. 15 miles, broken at 3600, temperature 26, dew point 17, altimeter 3003. Now, I am being a little bit of a bad pilot here. You really should be setting up your approach before you start descending. 3003, that's exactly what it was when we left, too. That is some widespread high pressure there. And 06 left there, so there we go. Yeah, really, in all honesty, you should be setting up before we go. Okay, yeah, so as I was saying, you should be really setting up your descent before we start down. You should be starting about 100 miles before we reach top descent. I was out of the flight deck again, just taking care of a few other things around the house, as I always am, because you're trying to balance. Yeah, but I'm trying to have a work-life balance here. Okay, so we are, let's bring up some information. Alright, so we're going to, there's my webcam back there. I'm going to bring myself back over here to the EFB and bring up my other FMS there. Okay, and then we can, first of all, let's get some performance data here. So we're in descent phase, landing. Again, going back to vPilot here quickly for our METAR on the network here, 26 degrees and 3003. Yeah, I commented on 3003 and I already forgot what I said there. So 3003. 26, jeez, amateur hours, big fat finger sometimes working for me here. 3003, we're going to do config 3 and 6 left. Actually, I'm not totally familiar with what the approach will be on 6 left, so let's just check the charts here. All of my favorites are gone here from my kneeboard, which means there must have been some kind of an update to this at some point. I do remember clicking update at some point, but I just didn't realize we're going to lose everything here. And then this guy is talking, but giving help. CYYZ. And I'll tell you guys about something else too in a couple minutes. I'm not going to say anything yet. Not too many of you guys watching yet anyways now. It's kind of because I left. I guess everybody left me, which is fine. But I got some important stuff, exciting stuff, news that I found out while I was just away there for a few minutes. So, this one. We gotta scroll down. We gotta get to the approaches. Where are the approaches? There we go. The ILS to runway 6 left. And airport info. That one is going to be a favorite, and apron procedures and parking gates is also going to be a favorite. Okay, and then we got everything we need here in favorites. Nice. So what I was looking for right now, actually for the FMS here, was the ILS minimums of 785. No, sorry, that's the ILS at 735. That makes more sense. 735 is our barrel mins. Okay, so then we got that set in the FMS, and we already have the flight plan inputted with the correct arrival runway, so I don't need to put anything else into the FMS there. The performance numbers are in, and that's pretty much it. We can go ahead and do the briefing. Come back, FS2 crew, come back. Are you ready for the approach briefing? Are you ready for the approach briefing?
Ready?
There he goes. Okay, so we're doing the speeds are in, distances we'll say we're checked. We're doing the link to arrival into Toronto. We're going to be, this is on plate 10-2 Delta and effective on the 26th of March of 2020. Notes up in the corner here, they're all pretty typical for Toronto. Equipment note, 100 miles, safe is 49, jet aircraft only, refer to continuous descent operations. Give me 1 second, I'm just going to check and see. We're going to level off here in a second, so I'm just going to continue our descent to 17,000. There we go. Okay, so the link to RNAV arrival into Toronto on, there we go. We're going to start off at Wozy, which is the fix we're heading to right now, and then we're going to go to Iston and Ling. The first restrictions are to cross CDAB at 250 knots between 11 and 13,000. Then we go to Degro and Seagod at, not that one. Degro, Seagod at 8,000 at 210 knots. Then a left turn at Verco to hit Darput down at Massar and Liran. And after that, we're going to probably be doing, we're going to get a vector around 2 and ILS to runway 06 left to Toronto. This is on plate 11-2 and effective on the 21st of May of 2020. Let's see here. We've got LOC IJS1091. Let's check that. IJS1091 057 inbound course is already auto set up in the FMS. That'll be ready for us. The glide slope check height at VEPNA of 2010. VEPNA 2010 is there, and the ILSDA of 735. So we got 735 barrels set. And if I scroll back over to my PFD, it should be right there. It is. And then we've got touchdown zone at 535 feet, and if we look on, let's see here, can't really see it too well here, but if I go to the pressurization page, landing elevation 600 feet there, so that's good. And the MSA is high as 3,100 feet. The missed approach is climb to 1,100 feet on a heading of 057, then a climbing right turn to 3,100 feet and outbound. On a heading 132 and intercept the 102 radial outbound to 2 dogs. So straight ahead 1,100 feet, then a right turn heading 132 and intercept the 102 radial out to 2 dog and hold. Radars required, 100 miles safe is 49, sound approach is authorized with 05, local level 10 degrees centerline, procedure turns not authorized, 3 degree glide slope, PAPI's on the left, ALSF2 lighting system, no notes on the plan itself, and as I said, the RVR, the 735 foot minimums require RVR 2,600 or half mile. It's supposed to be a beautiful day out there, partly cloudy skies, but otherwise gorgeous day, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. After we land 06 left, it'll be convenient left turn off the runway, maybe Charlie 1 if we can make it. I'm still skeptical in the Airbus. So then we'll probably be Charlie 3, and then we can either expect Delta 5 Delta Alpha or the hard left back onto Charlie Alpha up to Terminal 3. We'll pick a parking gate shortly. Terrain, again, 3,100 foot MSA covers everything. Weather is not much of an issue in Toronto today. We got some ATC, so just give me 1 second and I will log on to that. Let me just check the NOTAMs here in Toronto. I don't think there's anything of any interest, but let's just double check. Everything on the aircraft is functional, so no MELs on the aircraft. Toronto Lester B, Quebec Alpha, and hotel between Fox. Anything that says hotel we don't have to worry about too much. November between Echo and Bravo closed. Echo, Bravo number 5, Bravo 4, Bravo 1. Lots of NOTAMs here, lots of stuff closed, lots of stuff being repaved. But nothing affecting our arrival that I can see. 24 left, it's all good. 6 right, I think that's all good. Do the construction, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, good. So that's it. Any questions?
Okay, that's checked and no questions.
Alright, and arrival is all excited for me to call them, even though I am not even at WASI yet. So we'll go ahead and tune them up. Give me a second here.
The Pearson, Deep Toronto altimeter 3003, information Foxtrot, descend 8000, and level by dead grow. Expect LS 06.
Okay, and what was I going to do here?
3003, information Foxtrot, 20,000, and level at dead grow. Or let's see.
Toronto arrival, good afternoon. Transat 2599's with you. Flight level 200 descending 17,000, and we have information. Foxtrot.
Transat 2599 arrival. Hello, squawk 2217.
2217, Transat 2599. .2217's in the box.
Transat 2599, thanks. Identified. Landing runway 06 left in Pearson, the altimeter 3003, descent 8000.
We are set up for 06 left, descend 8000, Transat 2599. Alright, 8,000 feet is set. Feel like he's a little bit quiet, so I'm going to go ahead and crank the audio a little bit on the VATSIM side here. Hopefully that's okay. Alright, and we're almost there. We have some VATSIM controllers online, which is great. Now, one thing that I just discovered while I was on break, and I can't really say too much about it, and nobody's really watching anyway, so what does it matter? I've got got the lowest viewer count of the whole stream so far, probably because I was away for that long. But 2100 Zulu today, and I didn't even know this was happening, and it's happening today apparently. VATSIM is going to release a video that everyone who's a VATSIM user, I think, will be very happy about. And I really don't want to say too much more than that.
Departure, good afternoon.
But guys, stay tuned. Watch, keep an eye on your YouTube platforms.
387 heavy arrivals. Good evening, wind.
Because today, 2100 Zulu is the plan. Anyways, I think that may change. I don't think that's 100% set in stone. But today, there's an expectation that VATSIM's going to release a video, and like I said, it's going to make all of you simmers pretty darn happy out there. Transition. Set 3003. 3003 set.
3003. Cross-checked. Passing 17,000.
Checked. Don't see any buildups on the radar. Yeah, a little bit overcast, guys, but nothing build up on the radar, so I think we're okay. Weather-wise, might be a little bit bumpy in the descent here. You know what? Let's go ahead and get the seatbelts on now.
Now.
Checked. That's the 17,000 foot call. There he is right now. And away we go. I think we're flying right over, I believe that's the Niagara River right there. This is Goat Island. I think that we're just over here. And that's Canada right on the other side of the river there. We're still over America right now, but we're just about to cross over into Canada. We are almost home. One thing we can do is try to figure out a gate. I don't think Transat is flying yet, though. I feel like they're still... Yeah, I don't think they're back to flying yet.
37 heavy passing 2,500.
Transat 387 heavy, thanks, identified, climb 7,000.
Up 7,000, Transat 387 heavy.
Hey, company aircraft. There's not too many people usually flying Transat around. It's kind of nice to hear company aircraft out there. Alright, there's a few build-ups out there. Nothing crazy, but there's definitely build-ups out there. Localizer on there, so we're ready for it.
387 heavy, turn right direct, mobile on course, climb flight level 230.
Mobile on course, so he's not going to Europe, he's going somewhere south.
Level 230, Transat 387 heavy.
Caribbean, or maybe Florida. Those are the places that Transat tends to fly anyways. Alright, so we got to select a gate for arrival in Toronto. I really don't care too much at this point, because yeah, we don't have a realistic gate to be able to select, so pretty much anything will do at this point. If I go to the apron procedures, as long as it's a Terminal 3, International Pier, which is the Charlie gates, any of those Charlie gates will do, so... I don't know. Maybe Charlie 28, maybe Charlie 38. Something anyways. As we get down further, we'll have another look at it here. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what this video is. I have not seen it. I don't have any real personal first-hand knowledge other than I was simply was informed about it today. But yeah, today VATSIM will be dropping a video that all VATSIM fans will want to see. Good stuff. Landing flap 3 on. Hasn't been too rough yet. I thought it was going to be rougher than this coming in, but cloud deck seems to be just sort of shrinking down below us, just in front of us. A little bit cloudy out there, but not too bad. Probably can't get the pressurization on there anymore. We confirmed it's working. Maybe it's just me, but it feels like this thing is just flying like crazy slow here. Now it's adding some power to get back to its target speed. It's targeting like 268, but we're sitting down here at like 252 because it seems to want to keep flying at idle thrust for some reason. I don't know why. I understand not idle thrust. If you're close to the speed, you're supposed to be at a descent, but we are way above our target speed, or way below our target speed, so why are we idling the thrust? We should be bringing some thrust in there. Alright, here comes Ling. We're going to get the deceleration here just prior to Ling to slow down to the 250 knots at CDAB, and we'll pass it at over 11,000 feet. There's some speed.
WestJet 169, descend 6,000. 6,000 for WestJet 169.
Alright, any second now, that speed is supposed to trigger back to 250. There it is. Speed manual 250. probably, no, that can't be the Transat at 1100 feet above us because that's not where mobile is. Mobile talk to the left.
November 822 the Tango. Number 82 Zulu Tango, arrivals, go ahead. Maintaining VFR south position, Juan here. Wondering if we could enter the pattern back to Toronto City.
And now it wants more drag.
2
Stupid
Zulu
plane.
Tango, Roger, you can enter left, down, and
Idle
right
for so long and then all of a sudden too much drag. We need less
left,
drag.
down 126, November 822 the Tango.
Oh, it's amusing sometimes.
Shut 169, descend 3000. 3000 for what?
Somewhere out there is WestJet. Sounds like they're already on the downwind. Might see them landing just as we turn to beam the airport there.
Transat 387 Heavy, leave my airspace to the south and Toronto's offline. Radar services are terminated and frequency change is approved. Enjoy the rest of your flight. See you later.
Have a great day as well, Transit 387 Heavy.
And 2 Zulu Tango, you're looking for touch and goes at the island? That'd be great. Thank you. Number 822 the Tango. 2 Zulu Tango, Roger, and the island altimeter 3002. 3002, number 822 the Tango.
Approach checklist.
Okay, approach checklist. Briefing.
Confirmed.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Seat belts.
On.
Barrow ref.
3003 set.
3003 set. MDADH.
Barrel 735 feet set. Barrow 735 feet set. Minimums 735 feet set.
1,000 to go.
735 feet set.
735 feet set. Engine mode selector.
Norm.
All right, approach checklist is complete.
Checked. Speed 210.
Checked.
And we're gonna need something in a second here. Flaps 1.
Speed checked. Flaps 1.
It's the only way we can get the speed any lower, otherwise we're below the maneuvering speed for flaps up.
Transat 2599, descend 6000.
Descend 6000, Transat 2599.
West jet 169,
6,000
turn
feet
right,
set.
heading 330. 330 for West jet 169. 2 Zulu Tango, island wind 180 at 08 knots, clear touch and go, runway 26. Clear touch and go, runway 26, 2 Zulu Tango.
We're going to just go open descent to 6,000 at full idle. The sooner we go down, the sooner we get turned on base. We'll pass that WestJet on final somewhere. He's out there somewhere. We'll see if we can spot him as he
1,000
goes
to
by.
go.
Checked.
Westjet 169, continue right turn, heading 030, enter the localizer, clear that left, runway 06 left approach. 030, and then join the localizer, clear ILS approach, runway
All-star.
06 left for Westjet 169. Transat 2599, descend 3000.
Descend 3000, Transat 2599. Open descent, 3,000 feet set. So somewhere out here is WestJet. Trying to spot him on the TKS. he's actually pretty far out there, isn't he? Oh yeah, look how far out he is. He's not
thanks for
down
letting me
enough,
know.
I guess.
Captain, the captain is secure.
Checked. Alright, the cabin's secure. Let's get the speed back a little bit. That'll shallow out our descent. We're trying to have a continuous descent all the way to the runway, and we're outdoing this guy's descent here. Oops. Back to nav. Didn't mean to do that. That was the button I meant to move. There's a one-click rule a lot of airlines have, and it's a really great rule. Whenever you're doing anything with the guidance panel, mode control panel, whatever you call it, you always do one click on every knob first, and make sure that you're moving the thing you think you're moving. And if the wrong thing moves, you only have one click back to go. So if you move the heading instead of the speed, this plane barely even turns. You know, or the altitude, it barely incurs. Whereas if you were to just like grab it and spin it really quick, if you grab the wrong knob and spin the heading way over, that can create a total cluster. And I have been there. I have had somebody turn the wrong knob on me, turn the heading when they thought they were turning the speed, and all of a sudden turned us off an ILS towards another aircraft on a parallel approach. And it was not pretty that day. Somewhere out there's WestJet on final. See if you guys can spot him going past the window there. He should be going past any second now.
WestJet 169, wind.
I think he's past us already.
010 knots, clear to land, runway 06 left.
There's Altstar.
Clear to land, runway 06 left for WestJet 169.
Transat 2599, turn right, heading 330.
Right turn 330, Transat 2599. Heading is 330.
2,500.
And we should get fail inbound 057. And we always get this no nav intercept message, but as long as it's going to fail next, then it should sequence automatically. And now that we're below 10,000, we can also select a gate while we're at it. Charlie 29.
2,500.
Swissport. Okay.
2599, turn right, heading 030, intercept the localizer, clear LS, runway 06 left approach.
Right turn 030 for the intercept, clear the ILS 06 left, Transat 2599. So heading is 030, approach is armed. Vulcan glide slope are armed.
22 Tango Island wind 19008 knots. Clear touch and go runway 26. Clear touch and go runway 26. 20 Tango.
And traffic's at the FAF, looking good.
20 Tango, good.
Can we do a practice go around on this go? So we'll go in for the approach and then we'll call for go around. 20 Tango, yeah, not a problem. Okay, 20 Tango.
Alright, and now begins the silent part of my flight where I'm focused on flying Lokestar and talking to the FO to configure the airplane. Unmute him and hopefully he won't talk too much. Lokestar.
Checked.
Glide slope's alive. Loke.
Checked.
Flaps 2.
Speed checked. Flaps 2.
Speed's 180.
Checked.
Glide slope star.
Checked.
Set missed approach altitude 3,100. Cancel last command.
Check.
Sometimes you're a useless guy. Gear down.
Gear down.
Russia 169, welcome to Toronto, exit left, and contact ground 120.65 when clear. Have a good day.
Flaps 3.
Speed
Turning
checked.
left,
Flaps
then
3.
going to ground 121.65. Thank you, and have a good day.
Speed's 160.
Thanks.
Checked. Cabin crew seats for landing.
Turns at 2599, wind 14010 knots, clear to land runway 06 left.
Cleared to land 06 left to transat 2599. Landing checklist.
Okay, landing checklist. Cabin crew,
Advised.
auto thrust,
Speed.
I'm sorry, wind check is 04010 knots.
Landing no blue.
landing checklist complete.
20 Tango is on the go.
Speed. 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 Speed.
20 Tango, roger, thanks. Call me midfield down with intention.
Speed.
1,000.
Speed.
We'll call him
Why are
midfield.
you calling speed?
Speed. 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 Speed.
Oh, it's actually 156.
Speed. 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 Speed.
I really wish the speed would be on here.
Speed.
Alright, we're correcting. Just trying to find it on my performance page. It'd be nice to have an FO who did some work sometimes. Disengaging autopilot. Cancel last command.
Check.
I hear you clicking those buttons, you stupid FO.
Checked.
500.
Stable.
400. 300. 100 above.
Checked.
200. Minimum.
Landing.
Check.
100. 50.
Glide.
40. 30. Retard 10. Retard. Retard.
Spoilers.
Checked.
Reverse green. Decel. $70 knots.
Didn't think we'd
Transat
be checked.
2599, welcome to Toronto, exit left when able, contact ground 121.65 when clear. Have a good day.
Okay, take the left on Charlie 3 and 2165, Transat 25 and 99. Thanks, have a great day.
Thanks.
Tower 20 Tango's midfield downwind for a full stop landing, please. 20 Tango.
20 Tango, roger, wind 190.08 knots, clear to land runway 26.
Cool land runway 26, 20 Tango.
Swap com 1, please.
Check.
Toronto ground, get afternoon Transat 2599 clearing on Charlie 3 for gate Charlie 29.
Transat 2599, good evening, Toronto ground, taxi Charlie, Alpha, Alpha Juliet, apron discretion, welcome to Toronto.
Okay, Charlie Alpha Alpha Juliet Transat 2599. Okay, the hard left, I guess, on Charlie. Okay to clean up. Okay to clean up. Alright, the hard left here onto Charlie. I wish that the tower controller would tell us if we're going to be turning onto Charlie. In the real world, they kind of do a better job of coordinating this sort of thing. But in the real world, they're also in the same room. They're probably not they're not half a world away online. So they can look at each other and make a gesture and understand, you know, have some silent communication there. There we go. But nevertheless, here we are, guys. Back in Toronto again. Here I thought we were going to avoid it for a couple of legs with Pilot's Life by selecting a Montreal base, but we just keep coming back here anyways. But nevertheless, there it is. Here's our WestJet, parked at Terminal 1 for some reason. It's one of the reasons why I kind of like the European model, where they tend to tell you which gate you're going to. More than the, but at the end of the day, it's still the airlines that actually decide which gate you're parking at. They're the ones who actually coordinate with the airport, you know, the airport operations center and select gates. But, you know, in the real world in Toronto, the ground controller and the apron controller will have your gating information in front of them as well. But it's not the case here on the VATSIM network, where we sort of let people pick the gates they want. Whereas in Europe, they tend to be very aggressive in, like, this is your gate. Unless you specifically tell them you want something else, and then they're usually okay with it. Okay, this is Alpha here. It's good to be home. It feels, this place feels so familiar to me. It's just a second home nowadays. And I tell you, it's good to be back in the saddle at work for real. As much as I did need a little vacation at the start of the year, and I was feeling overworked, it's amazing how quickly that 3-month vacation became tired and old, and how quickly the skills in this business atrophy too. That's the other thing. When you're in aviation, there's so many things for you to learn and keep your skills sharp, and it's amazing how quickly you lose these skills. The WestJet is here. No, he's still there. How quickly you lose these skills if you're not using them on an almost daily basis. Even just a couple of days off work, a week off work, you get back to work and you're like, what am I doing again? What are the buttons? Where am I looking? And never mind 3 months off work. Like, that is, for me, that's unprecedented in my airline career. I've been doing this for quite a while now, for a decade pretty much, and I've never had that long off flying in over 10 years. So to then to try and get back into it, and it's a high-paced business. You know, it's a fast-paced business. You work quickly a lot. So to to try and sort of set yourself and get competent, but you're also under the pressure to perform, you know, per the SOPs and everything. It's alright, Alpha Juliet should be the next one here. And I did select Charlie 29, right? I'm pretty sure I did. So somewhere out here there are some GSX guys waiting for me. Pretty sure Charlie 29 is just around the corner there. I'll check the... Just get centered on this taxiway here. Charlie 29, yes, just a little bit past the corner. So straight up the alley and we'll see it. Alright, that's good enough. Start the APU before we get to the apron and we get distracted and busy. And, well, that's it for traffic in Toronto by the sounds of it. I haven't turned the radio off. Well, I guess I got a ground controller now, so... It's mid-afternoon. It's not exactly what you would expect to be a busy time anyways in the VATSIM network. Alright. Still a couple airplanes parked over here, but quiet afternoon in Toronto. But that, like I said, that's what you expect on the VATSIM network on a, what is it, Thursday? Thursday afternoon. don't expect a whole lot of activity. But that's why we'll try to aim with the next one. We're going to try to aim probably for an early evening flight, so we can still have daylight hours, but hopefully have like a full ATC across the board, Toronto to Montreal. It's a short flight anyways, it's less than an hour in the air, so it should be easy to squeeze in some evening and hopefully be down in Montreal just after sunset, while it's still light enough that you can see. Because one thing I don't like about streaming at night is it just gets so dark. You guys just, basically, it's a couple of different colored lights, and otherwise a black screen and me talking in the background. Alright, taxi lights going off. And where's the fun in that, really? Alright, I see the marshaller there. Marshal's in sight. Taxi lights off. The APU should be available. It is. Going probably a little slower than I need to, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And wouldn't that just be hilarious if right at this very moment someone just like spawned on this gate as you're just pulling into it? The joys of the VATSIM system. Yeah, that's what I thought. We're going too far to the right now. Or to the left. Now he says go, that says stop. If I go this far forward, then I might not be able to get the bridge, but let's see what happens. Alright, he's all good there, and we can go ahead and cut the engines. APU bleed. Hopefully this guy turns off everything he's supposed to. I see the beacon still on. Nope, doesn't like something. Okay, so he's not turning off the beacon, so I got the beacon.
Cockpit from ground.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Chocks are in now, and you can release the parking brake.
Thank you. Parking checklist. De-ice? What the heck? De-ice? Parking checklist.
Okay, here's the parking checklist. APU bleed.
On.
Engines.
Off.
Seat belts.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Off.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Parking brake and chocks.
Set.
Parking checklist is complete.
Checked. Alright, GSX seems to be stuck here. Sometimes it just gets stuck. Alright. Sometimes you just gotta reset it. Like
engine bleeds coming on.
Let's see. Oops. That's not what I want to do. Where's reset position? I can't reset the position anymore? Okay, well we can always do it this way too. We can just restart GSX. Thinking about it. Restarted. And any second now, there it is, I can request deboarding. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please connect external power.
Roger, connecting the GPU.
Alright, and that's it guys. We made it. We're here. Here comes our ramp guys to unload all our baggage. Back to Toronto yet again, guys. But we are here, another successful leg of a pilot's life completed. And with that, let's just go ahead and check our status right here. There we go, another one down, 195 feet per minute at landing. Another 8 experience points.
The GPU is now connected.
Thank you. Alright, APU's shutting down, and away we go. So as I said, yeah, there it is. We're getting there. We got 148 experience points. Our next raise is coming up before too long, and then we'll really start hopefully rolling in the cash. But there we go. Another leg done. Next is back to Montreal, and then it's Fort Lauderdale turn. That's right. That's what it is, a Fort Lauderdale turn. Enjoy that nice new LatinVFR scenery down there. So you guys will get to enjoy that. And that's about it, guys. So have a quick look at the reports page here. But Transat is quickly becoming now my primary points earning, or primary points and hours earning airline. Let's go the whole career and see. Quickly outpacing Encore there. And hours per aircraft. Dash 8 still more hours there than anything else, but the 321 is catching up pretty quick. But there we have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. As I said, guys, stay tuned today. And keep an eye on your YouTube video. Expect a video to drop from VATSIM hopefully later today with some fantastic news for all of you VATSIMers out there that you're all going to be super happy about. I know I am. I can't say anything more than that, but I think you guys are all going to be very happy about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like the videos, subscribe to me on Twitch, subscribe to me on YouTube, and I hope to see you guys out there very soon. Stay safe and be healthy, everybody.